The guy says he wants to be reborn in another world. Akira Ichijo says that everyone has probably dreamed of this at one time or another, and if they had the opportunity, they would do it. He says that he will not leave and explains that he wanted to marry a princess and become a prince, live a bright and joyful life in another world, fight mythical creatures and monsters, but he should not have turned out like this. A man says he doesn't want to die. The first death is confirmed, and the subject's high connection with the world is confirmed. In connection with compliance with all conditions, the system assigns a special skill to the subject, including a system quest, a trophy system, and a special skill, resurrection. A special skill was used. The man says, "Hey," and tries to pronounce Ichijo's name. The man calls Ichijo by name. The guy asks about that monster. Akira Ichijo says his legs are still there and asks what the dream was about. The man turns to Akira Ichijo. He says he's behind her. Manager Nanase says he's watching and has the nerve to ignore his superiors. Manager Nanase grabs the man by the neck. The woman explains that the man suddenly passed out, as if his batteries had died, and asks if he's really feeling unwell. Akira Ichijo says he dozed off for a bit, but it would be strange for him not to wake up from such brute force. The girl explains that it's because he's always sleeping and asks if he's overtired. Akira Ichijo says he still feels like he's being chewed and that it's all a nightmare. He says that everything is fine now and he will finish all the work by the end of the day, the girl exclaims. The girl says that if you look closely, you can see bags under Akira's eyes, and she explains that he needs to prioritize his health. She says that listening to Ichijo and sticking to deadlines is important, but he says it's okay. The girl says she's leaving soon and asks him to wrap things up too. He says he's imagining things, or he remembers this conversation. The guy says that he also wanted to wake up from the suffocation of Manager Nanase and expresses envy to Comrade Akira. Akira says that he has already seen these scenes and explains that it is still strange. Akira Ichijo says his hair has been thinning since he was 25, but also asks if he's developing dementia. He says he hears a sound and asks what it is. He explains that the sounds are like something heavy being dragged. He then reports that it's impossible to see anything in this darkness. Akira Ichijo says he doesn't understand what's going on and expresses surprise. The man says that's something. Akira sees some kind of muscular monster. Akira Ichijo says that this is not just a monster, but a demon that devours people's souls. Akira says they must be filming here. He says it simply can't be, and then confirms it. The man explains that it really is a monster and asks if it was all a dream. The image depicts a monster's vicious face with sharp fangs. Akira Ichijo screams and tries to escape the enraged monster, which is chasing after him, making loud noises. He says that this is nonsense, repeating this several times, and at the same time reports that he is afraid and does not want to die, wondering whether he will die and whether they will kill him. Akira Ichijo says he doesn't want to die, then gets hit hard by a creature with horns and falls down, blood pouring out of his mouth. Akira says it's burning and reports that he can't breathe. Akira Ichijo says his legs won't obey him. He says he won't leave. He says these are his legs. Akira Ichijo reveals that he has no legs. He explains that he doesn't understand what's going on and reveals that he's still a virgin. Akira's vision is blurry. Akira Ichijo says he's dying. He then notices a quest opening, which announces a second defeat by a monster. The C-Class quest, the one engaged in combat, is a Minotaur. The quest completion condition is the destruction of the Minotaur, and the number of Minotaurs defeated is 0. He says, seriously, what kind of quest is this? A defeated Minotaur, killing that monster. He says it's a second defeat by a monster, a Class C quest. The one entering the fight is a Minotaur. The quest completion condition is to destroy a certain number of defeated ones. Akira says it's the end. The man says hey and tries to call out to Akira Ichijo. Akira Ichijo announces that he's back, then asks what's going on and sees a message about being defeated in a quest. He says that something has appeared again and asks what it is, and also wonders if this means defeat in the quest and whether this refers to that beast. Akira Ichijo reports what's missing. He notices a message appearing on the computer screen about the bronze repeated death trophy being earned, granting the following perks: stamina +5 UP and muscle strength +5 UP. He says, ugh, so what? Then says he doesn't understand what the bronze trophy and stamina mean and wonders what the screen is for. The girl asks Ichijo if he can hear her. The girl asks what Akira Ichijo is talking about. Akira Ichijo explains that he's talking about a transparent screen. He's surprised that the girl can't see. Akira tells him the screen is clear and asks if she really can't see anything. He asks if she's farsighted. The girl covers his mouth and tells him what kind of manners he has to talk to his superiors like that. The boss tells him to stop talking nonsense and get dressed, and Akira says that he's really going crazy. He explains that before he could look back, the screen disappeared and asks what that was. He then says that the only thing he can say for sure is that he is returning to the past, and from this, it follows that if he goes home that way again, Akira Ichijo says he'll meet a monster again. He says he doesn't know what to do. Then he says he can just go home another way and that then he won't meet him. After that, he asks to wait. Akira Ichijo says there's a possibility, sighs, and thinks he's afraid to be out in the open. He says he might go back to the office for a while and thinks it'll be safer there. In the office, Akira Ichijo explains he's still afraid. He says what's wrong with this monster, why does it survive and come back, and asks if the screen looks like the ones in the games. Akira Ichijo says there's so much confusion out there, and his head is already hurting, he can't dwell on it. He explains that the only thing he needs to think about is how to survive. He says there is a lot of noise in the street, and asks what it is. Akira Ichijo says that's when he fell asleep and asks what time it is. He tells me it's already the next day. Akira says that it turns out there was no death. Akira Ichijo says it's time to have some coffee. He then announces that he's still alive and explains how easy it was. He says it's strange that no one's here yet, even though it's not a day off and it shouldn't be skipping work, even the boss. He also reports that the siren has been going off for a while now. Akira Ichijo says that something strange just happened and asks what it is. He reports that something strange is happening. He asks what is going on there. Akira Ichijo says that giant monsters have appeared in the city and explains that they are destroying everything in their path, including cars and buildings. He says, "What is this?" and asks, "What the hell is this?" He then explains that he only thought he was freed from a nightmare, but asks to be freed from it because he woke up in hell. Akira Ichijo says that, yes, the internet. He'll find explanations on news sites. The next panel shows news headlines that talk about something appearing all over the world at the same time, something fantastical. He says that something is going on in Europe and America, but then denies it. He reports a monster invasion and reflects on what's happening in the city and the world, as well as the possibility of a sudden event. Akira Ichijo reports that he's the only one left alive and asks if anyone is alive to answer. He screams for someone to answer and runs down the hallway. A man is sitting on a bench near a vending machine. The man notices and says, "Sayama." He says, "Thank God." The man is alive and asks why he's here. The man is sitting on a bench and the creature attacks him. Akira Ichijo reports that he is being eaten by a monster and calls it crazy. Akira reports that they are indeed human and then says that he has been noticed. Akira Ichijo says this is crap and expresses intense irritation. He explains that if he continues standing, the monster will kill him and wonders what he should do. Fight it. He remarks that the monster looks like a goblin from a video game. Goblins are the weakest, the small fry in video games, and maybe he has at least some chance, but he immediately refuses and says that he doesn't want to compete with them. He asks the goblin to leave. Akira yells, "Go away." Akira Ichijo jumps back, trying to dodge. Akira throws a bottle at the goblin. Then the goblin jumps on him and grabs him by the throat. He says that he is strong. The goblin delivers a powerful blow, plunging the weapon into Akira Ichijo's body, causing him to fall to the blood-covered floor. The goblin stands over him and makes a sound of glee. The goblin lets out a cry of surprise. Akira is surprised, not understanding what's happening or why he's so surprised. Akira Ichijo explains that this is his chance because he's still alive, although he doesn't know exactly why. Then Akira Ichijo screams and strikes the goblin. He says he doesn't understand where his opponent gets such strength from. Then he delivers a powerful blow that knocks the demon out of the corridor and slams him into the wall. Akira Ichijo says that even the wall cracked, although his pulling force is no more than 30 kilograms, and explains that he does not understand how he survived after such a blow from the bat. He says it's probably the data on yesterday's screen. The screen shows that endurance and muscle strength have increased by 5. Akira Ichijo says they need to do it again. He screams and attacks his opponent with a bat, letting out a loud cry. The opponent, kneeling, looks at Akira. He grabs the goblin by the throat and squeezes it hard. The goblin lets out a loud scream. Akira Ichijo screams, then clenches his knife hand, making a sound as he exhales. He says he won't die, he'll survive, and he definitely will. He delivers a powerful blow with the bat. Akira Ichijo says he survived. He says he did it, killed him, and survived. Then he falls to the floor and utters his last sounds. Akira Ichijo says he can't move due to the large amount of blood loss and that even though he killed him, his head still hurts. He reports that the monster's head has completely died. Then he hears a ringing sound. After that, information about leveling up from 1 to 3 appears, which talks about distributing 2 points and receiving a bronze trophy for the first kill of the monster. Akira Ichijo says this screen has appeared again and asks if he's leveling up. The screen informs him that he's earned a bronze trophy for killing a monster for the first time, has been awarded privileges, and his physical strength has been increased by 5 points. Akira Ichijo makes a sound of surprise. He says he feels a surge of moshi from the inside, and at the same time, he screams that he doesn't understand what's happening. Akira Ichijo says that he has never felt so much power filling his body, but it is useless, and he loses consciousness, and also expresses confusion about the meaning of this increase. He says he feels pain. The man says he looks at Akira Ichijo and asks if he feels bad. He replies that he does. The girl screams at Akira Ichijo, calling him, and Akira Ichijo runs away through the door. He says he's back here again and is definitely going back to the past. He says he's back before the destruction of the world. Akira Ichijo says what and how best to proceed. Then he expresses surprise. He informs you that this is his status and explains that abilities and points carry over. He explains that values other than level will remain even if you die. Akira Ichijo says it's starting to feel more and more like a game. Akira says he still doesn't understand, but it's too early to give up and says he'll do it. Akira Ichijo says that regardless of whether this is another world or not, he intends to level up and survive no matter what. The current global reversal rate of 0.1% is shown against the backdrop of the city. Akira Ichijo is reportedly the only one in this reality who knows about the invasion of otherworldly monsters. In a few hours, this world will be overrun by monsters. Akira Ichijo says, "Good work and goodbye everyone." He explains that he has died several times and returned to the past and knows the world will be destroyed, but only he can stop it. He explains that his situation allows him to do so, so it's too early to give up. He then says that he intends to survive no matter what. The girl tells him not to raise his voice in the building because it's scary, and at the same time hits Akira Ichijo on the head. Akira Ichijo tells Now he's the manager, and Now says he's been forgotten for a long time and everyone else is leaving. He says he still has work to do, so he offers to go first. The girl says he already has bags under his eyes and asks if he's going to stay up all night again. He explains that time has flown by. The woman says it will be faster if she does it for Akira Ichijo and orders him to hurry home. Akira Ichijo protests that he's fine. The woman demands he return home and warns him that she won't do it again. He says he wouldn't like to. Akira Ichijo is silent, his gaze tense. He says he gave in because of the pressure and explains that Now is so scary when she's angry. He says that if he returns like he did then, the Minotaur will kill him again. Akira Ichijo says he'll check the thing while he's here and explains it's a status. He's sure it responds to the word, but he thinks the pose hardly means anything. He says that this is his current status and explains that he's back to level 1, but his overall level is 3. He says his muscle strength and endurance are higher. Akira Ichijo says that if you tap the screen, you can see the skill in action. He then lists the stats: Vitality 5, Muscle Strength 15, Endurance 9, Speed 4, Luck 4, Points Earned 2, and the special skill, Resurrection. Akira says he doesn't quite understand what reversion is, but that's what makes him return to death and asks where he got it from. Akira Ichijo says that if he slides, it disappears, and that it appears when he levels up. He explains that the points can be used somehow and shows that ability stats can be increased. Akira Ichijo explains that you can distribute the points between vitality. Akira says there are other skills and asks about a new one. He announces the arrival of a new skill. Akira Ichijo sees a list of skills to choose from, including body strengthening, analysis, weapon creation, reconnaissance, sensual narrative, disorganization, board making, silent steps, magical circuitry, mixing, and danger detection, with their levels and point costs. He expresses surprise. He says there are so many different skills here and expresses admiration. He says that the art of emotional storytelling is a strange skill, but perhaps he would like to learn it. He explains that to obtain a skill, you need at least 3 points, and he only has 2. Akira Ichijo says no one but him can see the screen and suggests he calm down. The girl asks if he's gone home yet. He says he was just waiting for the girl to finish. The girl asks if he still follows the company's guiding principle. He responds with surprise. He then reveals that he is the only one who adheres to the principle of not leaving his boss without going home first. Akira says that's fine and states that the priority right now is to safely level up and gain skills. Akira Ichijo says he needs to be prepared for this. The woman asks if Akira Ichijo really has directions, to which he replies affirmatively. He asks the girl if she remembered something, The girl replies that, no, she didn't mean that. The girl says that there are always many worries and sufferings in life. She knows that the interlocutor has always kept a low profile, but if something worries him, then he can consult with her from time to time. She says that a boss's job is to take care of his subordinates and asks them to rely on her at least a little. The girl says that's all she wanted to say and says goodbye until tomorrow. Akira Ichijo says he won't think about it because what can a guy like him do? A few hours later, the goblin situation flashes before Akira Ichijo's eyes again. He tells her that Na will be like that too, and wonders if he can save anyone today. He says that he thinks Na can handle it, and that she will definitely be fine, and the man thanks her for the purchase. Akira Ichijo says he breathes a sigh of relief. He then announces that he brought a large bag. He says he thinks that's enough for now. Akira Ichijo says that there are weapons, clothes, a helmet, food, water, a first aid kit, and he asks why he bought this in such times. He says that the palm was light, although he bought quite a lot, and asks if that is why the muscle strength indicator increased. Akira Ichijo says that for now he'll be using the company building as a leveling base, and that a minotaur is roaming around his house, so he'll try to avoid it. Then Akira Ichijo says that the time for monsters to appear will soon arrive. The man says he doesn't understand what's going on, and asks if he's been reincarnated in an isekai. Akira Ichijo says they're definitely in different places and have started popping up here and there. He then exclaims, "What the hell is that?" The image also shows a news report about a dragon being discovered in China. Akira says that the dragons are serious and that they should be assigned to the self-defense forces. Akira Ichijo explains that the time has come. He says everything is going well and decisively declares the need to raise the level. Then he leaves the building and runs down the street. Akira Ichijo runs down the street, breathing heavily. He reports that the city isn't as rowdy as he expected and asks if anyone else has appeared in this part of the city. He says that these monsters are definitely hiding somewhere and you need to be more careful, and also reports that now his target is small monsters, goblins, who move one by one. Akira Ichijo approaches the car and opens the door. He notices a severed body inside the car and expresses surprise. He expresses horror, then begins to cough and say, "Puff." Akira Ichijo says he needs to get used to this situation, as it will now be a daily occurrence, and explains that he's afraid even though he's seen something like this before. He then makes a noise that expresses fear or pain. He says that this scream and asks if there is a monster there. Akira Ichijo says he should check out what he's like and warns himself to be careful. He then expresses fear. Akira reports that there are goblins, but there are 4, maybe even 5. The man explains that the people have nowhere to run. The policeman says it's useless and demands a gun, while another man orders them to shoot quickly. The man shouts for everyone to stay back and enter the buildings, expressing horror at what's happening. Akira says there's no way to save them. It's too risky. Akira Ichijo says the police have guns, and even if he doesn't help. He says that the monster that defeated him last time has appeared again and states that the condition of the quest is to defeat 100 goblins. Akira Ichijo says he doesn't understand what. He says that last time he was defeated, it was a draw, but the verdict is defeat, and that they want him to destroy 100 goblins, which is too much. The woman screams for help, and a goblin attacks her with a sword. The man screams in pain. The man asks if it's safe to shoot and shouts to Tanaka. The man in the helmet reacts silently to what's happening. A police officer yells at Tanaka. A man orders him to shoot. Another man tells him to shoot faster, and the police officer says he's shooting. Then the police officer shoots the monster. The man reports what happened and immediately asks if he is dead. Akira reports that goblins can even withstand bullets. The guy says that if he doesn't run away, he won't be able to handle that number and says that he has no chance of handling it. Akira Ichijo says that his own life is more important than others. Akira says that other people's deaths have nothing to do with him. The man says he can't believe it. The man says it's impossible. The man explains it's a demon that attacked the girl. Akira Ichijo screams, rushing at the enemy with a knife in hand. The goblin growls in response and prepares to attack. Akira Ichijo strikes, parrying the goblin's attack. The girl says it's Ichisayo. He remains silent and stands in a fighting stance opposite the monster. Akira Ichijo says that he should ask the girl, and the girl says that how did Ichijo end up here? He says enough about me and orders her to get out of here quickly. The girl says it's a company policy and asks if he's forgotten it. He explains that you shouldn't leave your boss without going home first and asks if she remembers that. The girl says she's calling Ichijo. The man says there's no point in hesitating now. Now, says Ichizai always tries to protect her. Ichizai explains that a boss's job is to take care of their subordinates and that their own health should come first. Now asks Ichizai what happened and whether it's related to her poor health. The monsters say that this time they must repay their debt, and Akira Ichijo says that he will protect the interlocutor. The goblins rush forward with weapons in hand. He runs towards the goblins with a knife in his hand, preparing to attack. He raises the knife to strike, heading straight for one of the goblins. Akira Ichijo looks at his falling enemies in surprise. He fights off attacking creatures with a knife. The girl reports that something happened. She says she doesn't understand what happened. Akira Ichijo says that such a quantity in one moment. He shouts that they can run and urges them to do it quickly. He demands to hurry, and the girl asks in surprise what's going on. The girl says she can't believe what she heard. The goblins say they are. Akira Ichijo explains that he can't defeat that many, especially with a kitchen knife, and urges them to get up quickly. The girl asks Akira Ichijo if he didn't knock them down. One of the monsters says that his legs don't obey him and asks for forgiveness. Another makes a TSC sound. Akira Ichijo informs them that they'll have to return to the company for now, as it's safe there for now. The girl yells, "Wa!" and then says, "Ichiaju" in surprise. The man asks them to be patient for now. He reports that they seem to have escaped. The girl says he's an idiot and one wrong move could have cost him his life. He apologizes. Akira Ichijo says he's a fool and then adds that he is, but he hears the girl thanking him and asks if she said anything, adding that he didn't hear. Akira Ichijo reports that he can't see anything and orders him to look at the road. The man replies that it's fine. Akira Ichijo asks if he can protect this man in this crazy world. The girl screams that it hurts and asks him to stop. The man replies that he can. The guy lets out a scream of AAA and then quietly makes the sound A. The man says he's shaking and can't believe someone can become nothing when the wind blows. He's amazed and can't believe it. The man says the gun was ineffective and he expected the victim to die instantly, but all that was left was a large wound and the little monster was ineffective. The title card announces that this is the third chapter, titled Level Up. Set against the backdrop of a burning city and a flying helicopter, it depicts two people in this crumbling world wondering what they're really doing. Akira Ichijo says it hurts and asks him to be a little gentler. The girl asks him to be patient. There's still a little bit left. Akira Ichijo explains that future wounds could be fatal, and if urgent measures aren't taken, he understands that. The girl says that's it, she's finished. He says they can take water and food, but in moderation, and there are also clothes, wool blankets, and pillows. The girl says he's really well prepared. Akira Ichijo asks the girl what she saw there. The girl explains what it is and asks if he bought it. Akira Ichijo calls her Ichijo. He says it's not what it seems. The girl remains silent. The girl says there's nothing shameful about it and that it was just unexpected, and also explains what she means and that there's nothing unusual about it. Akira Ichijo asks him to stop and says that maybe he should. He says everything is fine there. The girl explains that she sees something or someone, those same ones. The man reports that he sees something or someone. Akira Ichijo asks why the girl went to the convenience store in the middle of the night. The girl explains that she was going to finish some work and went to get an energy drink. The girl reports that many people died right before her eyes. Akira Ichijo thinks she's a workaholic and perhaps it was him. He says that just a few hours ago everything was completely normal and asks why monsters appeared in their world then. The girl says that they attack people and devour them. He explains that he only knows that firearms are ineffective against monsters. Akira Ichijo says this aggression is happening all over the world and thinks that soon, by morning, this world will end. The girl reports that even then, he says that if this is really so, then why this status, and asks if this is really the end. Akira Ichijo says that Nao might have a status too, and asks if she has one. Akira Ichijo says, listen, and starts talking to Nao, speaking of. He says she's tired, and asks if she's terribly exhausted. He then asks her to rest as much as she needs. The guy asks if she fell asleep. Akira Ichijo reports that it's safe here until morning, something he confirmed after his last death. But to continue surviving, he needs to level up. Akira Ichijo says he can't rest forever, and the girl calls him by name. He says he'll definitely return alive. The girl asks him to wait for her a little while, and says she won't come yet. Akira Ichijo says this is a second attempt at leveling up. He explains that while he can only defeat a single goblin for now, if he encounters a monster he can defeat while searching for goblins, he'll fight it. He reports that there is a lot of shouting and gunshots in the city center, and explains that it might be best not to go there for now. Akira Ichijo notices huge bees flying towards him and says that they are bees that are huge and disgusting. He reports that people are skewered. Akira Ichijo informs them that they now need to be careful of the space above them. He explains that if they go down the alley, he wonders where they're being dragged. He reports that they have fallen prey to plants and explains that it is similar to Japanese ivy that catches its prey. Akira Ichijo informs him that as long as he keeps moving, the monster he's looking for must be somewhere. He spots the car and asks what it is. The guy says it's a monster and shouts that it's running here. He explains that he has nowhere to hide and that the monster will knock him down. Akira Ichijo says he's tired and yells at Pei. He then tries to dodge a wild boar's attack. He's breathing heavily. He falls to the floor in a room with broken glass, and the sounds of approaching footsteps can be heard. Akira Ichijo reports that it's almost noon, and more monsters are starting to appear. He explains that he's lucky. Then, Akira Ichijo notices a monster approaching and reacts. He says he's been trying to run away out of habit again and forgets why he even went out. He then says he needs to run but notices a goblin. He explains that if he doesn't fight, his level won't rise, meaning he won't survive. The goblin explains. Akira Ichijo says he can. He lunges at the goblin with a knife in his hands. The goblin smiles maliciously and stabs the goblin in the chest, piercing him with the knife. Akira Ichijo reports that the survivability of these creatures is abnormal and explains that he plunged a knife into the chest and throat, but the enemy is still alive, so he says he'll cut the whole throat. He explains that a kitchen knife isn't suitable for this and calls it hard. He expresses irritation and says how hard it is. The monster growls and tries to bite Akira Ichijo, who strikes the monster and says that's enough. Akira Ichijo screams for his opponent to die and delivers a blow to the monster's head, causing blood to fly. He reports that he's finally defeated him. He then rejoices at the level increase and says hooray, noting the level increase, the split of points, and the E-Class quest. Akira Ichijo says the quest seems to be progressing well. He reports that the goblins are in progress, with a kill rate of 1 in 100. He says he's tired and sighs. He says he's died twice before and doesn't think he can get used to it. The man says that he needs to be saved. Akira Ichijo hears a voice and asks if anyone else is there. The girl asks him to save her. Akira Ichijo notices the girl lying on the floor, looking badly beaten. The guy says what that goblin did to her and asks why she's in such a state. He says he can't believe it. Akira Ichijo says he should have noticed sooner. The scene depicts a pile of bodies and a woman lying on the floor. He says that those bees that dragged people must have a habitat. Akira Ichijo reports that things are bad, really bad. He explains that if he doesn't come up with something, he'll be eaten alive, and that a diversion is needed. The narrator reports that a horde of bloodthirsty goblins is advancing and wonders if Akira can survive this critical moment. He says, and a UFO. He shouts that it was in vain that he did this. Akira Ichijo runs away from a group of monsters that jump and run after him. Akira Ichijo says that's exactly what it looks like from the outside. He says he's like a member of the national athletics team and says he can do it, just a little bit more. Then he shouts that he doesn't understand where the enemies are attacking from. Akira Ichijo says then. He announces that he will escape through a window on the second floor. He descends the escalator and a crowd of monsters runs after him. Akira Ichijo says that if he can't get out of here, he'll die. He explains that the monsters that attacked him won't stop until they've eaten him. Below, a multitude of monsters ascend the escalator, surrounding Akira. The guy says he's going to die because there are too many of them, but it's not that bad because he has resurrection. Akira Ichijo says he can't die because he's a hero. The girl tells what will happen to Nao-san and asks what will become of Nao-san in this world. Akira Ichijo explains that he promised her he would definitely return, so he can't just up and die. He then fights off a horde of monsters, fending them off. He says he doesn't have a plan of action, but even if it seems cool, Akira Ichijo says there must be something, some kind of status skill, something that will help with the situation. He reacts to an unexpected event. A message appears indicating that he has reached level 2, stating that a new skill has been unlocked and offering a choice of 3 skills: Analysis Level 1, Body Strengthening Level 1, or Expertise Level 1. Akira Ichijo says he's accumulated points, but he can't think about the choice now. He says it's definitely skills, and it's do or die. He screams as he charges at the crowd of monsters. He then clenches his fist and punches one of them. The image shows multiple creatures with horns and pointed ears being thrown in different directions by a powerful explosion or impact inside a room. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful blow, knocking the enemies back. He says it's true. Then he prepares for his next move, observing the bodies strewn across the stairs. He says it's power and laughs. He explains that just one skill makes such a huge difference. Akira Ichijo says it's not finished yet. The monster says that he will then keep them company until the very end. He jumps and strikes the monster. A bronze trophy titled Goblin's Nemesis has been reported. Akira Ichijo says he broke through and knocked everyone out, screaming with joy. He then reports that the boys no longer frighten him and marvels at the strength he feels on the left side of his body reinforcement. He says it worked and reports an increase in level from 2 to 6 for a total of 8, with instructions to divide the 4 points in half. He explains that vitality has become 10, muscular strength 25, and endurance 24. He says, Akira Ichijo says he's killed so many, he thought there would be many more. He then announces that it's an E-class quest, goblins defeated, 100 out of 100 goblins killed, and a reward has been given. He reports that the quest is complete and asks if he's serious. He then explains that, as he expected, there were indeed a lot of goblins and that the quest is now complete. Akira Ichijo says he's got the trophy and suggests they put off the reward question for later. He then asks what the reward is. The man responds with surprise. The screen shows that completing the E-class Goblin quest awards 10 points and armor. He says it's 12 points, and taking into account the points for leveling up, it's 16 points in total. Akira Ichijo reports that he has 16 points, although they can be divided by ability values. He explains that he earned the points for defeating the goblins and asks what skills can be acquired. He says he still wants to take something. He explains that crafting weapons and achievements sounds good, but disorganization and monster materials seem necessary, although they are quite time-consuming and expensive. Akira Ichijo says that when it comes to security, it's hard to resist spotting danger and scouting out the enemy. He explains that skills have levels and suggests there might be a second level. He reports that there is indeed a second level of body strengthening. The man reads the description of a passive body strengthening skill that increases muscle strength, endurance, and speed, and requires spending 20 earnings. Akira Ichijo says it's too much for him. He can't take out a loan or anything like that, and asks how the other person imagines it. Then Akira Ichijo says he needs 4 more points and asks what the others are bringing. He explains that he barely made it and wants to buy. He says that more experience points from goblins won't increase his level, but he will if he acquires a skill that will allow him to understand the enemy's strength and fight more or less safely. Akira Ichijo informs him that he'll save the remaining points to strengthen his body to level 2. He then says he needs to try it out. Akira Ichijo sees a level 3 goblin analysis with stats and information about the inability to display information about the individual and its existing skills due to its insufficient level. He says his vitality is 12, almost the same as his now. He reports that they both have the same high vitality and is surprised at how strong they are. The man says it's still morning and expresses concern for Nana-san at this time of day. He explains that Akira Ichijo runs through a destroyed building with broken windows. He notices wolves approaching and says that they are wolves. Information about the gray wolf appears: level 13, vitality 18, muscle power 30, endurance 30, speed 50, magic power 15, luck 10, while information about Akira Ichijo reports that his abilities are much higher than the other guys. He says he can handle it. He says he can't afford to lose because it would mean death. He then goes on to say that if he loses, he will die. The guy asks if they ran away and why, and then says that they were scared of him or something, and that, apparently, such power emanates from him that it is impossible to hide it. Akira Ichijo says that now is not the time for carelessness, and that they need to hurry. He notices how quiet it is despite all this. He says it's strange. No gunshots, no screams, not to mention any signs of monsters. What's going on at all? He explains that he hears these sounds. Akira Ichijo says, is this really it? He says, the Minotaur. He reports that the situation in the city has changed because of him. The man explains that the monster is still a good distance away, and that if he runs, it's only now. Akira Ichijo says that he really will just run away, and that he has a chance to win, if we're talking about now, and also reports that he took out 100 goblins in one go. Akira Ichijo then explains the analysis. The Minotaur boss's stats are shown: level 45, vitality 112, muscle power 110, endurance 78, speed 110, magic power 40, luck 44, and it is also reported that due to insufficient level, it is impossible to display information about the individual and available skills. Akira Ichijo reports that the difference is simply enormous, and it's unknown how many times larger the goblins are. He explains that he was mistaken, and for him, he runs from a huge, horned monster that roars and looks menacingly. He tells him it's just prey. A man delivers a powerful punch that destroys the wall of a building. A powerful beam of energy erupts from the building, breaking through walls and windows, destroying the facade and knocking stones and debris outward. Akira Ichijo informs us that it is impossible to defeat him and we must escape. He says this is the end. Akira Ichijo speaks quickly and addresses Kao-san. He then reports that the global reversal rate has exceeded 1%, causing the monster to regain some of its original strength. He says it's a global reversal factor. He then expresses confusion about the initial force and orders them not to do it now. Below, he stands before a huge monster who smashes the floor with his fists. Akira Ichijo says he can't believe this is happening and that he's not going to give up. He says he doesn't understand how this is possible. He notices that the Minotaur boss has become even stronger. Information about the Minotaur boss appears: level 80, vitality 273, muscle power 375, endurance 213, speed 102, magic. The image depicts an explosion or powerful release of energy with flying debris and streams of dark liquid or smoke. There are no text lines or characters. Akira Ichijo says his name. The guy shouts, mourning about something, and suddenly grabs the girl by the shoulders. Akira Ichijo says what's going on and calls Nao-san. Nao-san replies by asking what happened. The man asks what's going on. Nao-san yells, "What is the man doing?" He says, "That's it, let's move on," and orders them to go home already, and then says that that's exactly how he was killed. The man says that he's such a fool, and if only someone had seen what they were doing. Akira Ichijo says he died again and that he's being pinned down. He explains that even at level 45, the enemy was a monster, and now at level 80, he's become even stronger, and he wonders why. He reports that exceeding a certain global reversal coefficient gives a boost to monsters, and explains that this stop is something that appeared just before death. The global reversal rate has been above 1%. It seems like it's midday. Speaking of which, the clock is almost noon, and the question is whether they are getting stronger as time goes on. Akira Ichijo says he can't understand why this happened and says he will have to start all over again. He reports that he will run away. Akira Ichijo informs them that he can't defeat them and has no choice but to escape. He speaks to Kanagawa, and the man replies that he understands. He says yes. He explains that he has gotten as far away from the city as possible, and that after he has secured his safety, he will return for Nao-san. The man reports that it's rare to see a wild boar wander into town in such a place. Akira Ichijo says that monsters are already appearing. Akira Ichijo has a bad feeling about this. The man expresses surprise. Akira Ichijo asks what's going on. The man says there's something in front of them. Akira Ichijo repeats that there's something in front of them. From top right to bottom, 2 wrecked cars are shown, missing doors and seats. Bottom left, the orc states that he is level 37, with the following stats: vitality 93, muscle strength 1006, endurance 1003, speed 104, magic power 30, and luck. Akira Ichijo says, "Press the pedal faster." The man says, "Leave quickly." An orc attacks a car, smashing it. He and the girl react to what's happening, and the girl screams Akira's name. It is reported that you need to go even further, and not to that city. Akira Ichijo announces that they need to go even further. The next panel shows a crowd of people in a train car, tense and tense. The guy reports that the train is climbing. The man asks what happened and says there was an accident and the train has tilted. The man expresses confusion. The man asks what that is. A scream is heard. A giant level 70 boss grabs and tears apart a train. The boss's stats are shown: vitality 55, muscle strength 400, endurance 450, speed 120, magic power 50, luck 50, and also states that information about Akira Ichijo says no, and someone calls his name. No matter where you run, this city is controlled by monsters, and they will kill you. Even if you don't run, but hide, they will eventually find you. If I die, I will be resurrected, and so on, again and again. This resurrection does not allow me to die. Akira Ichijo says that this has no end, and this is hell. Akira Ichijo says the word Ichijo. A woman asks how Akira Ichijo is doing. He says he's leaving and walks out the door. Akira Ichijo says that there is something he hasn't tried yet, and explains that if he kills himself, then wouldn't he be able to get rid of this hell? He says it should definitely work. Akira Ichijo says he can't go on like this and needs to make a change. He then announces that he's going to leave this place and start over. He stands on the edge of the roof and asks the Lord to let him die. Akira Ichijo says what the hell he's doing and screams his name at the same time. He says, "Ha," and turns to Hao-san. Akira Ichijo asks why the girl is here and if she's okay. The girl explains that it's not because she's afraid of heights, but because she simply doesn't like them. Akira Ichijo says he understands and asks the girl to come here quickly. He says that in any case, following the interlocutor was the right decision. The man says they'll give him 2 large glasses of beer for now. Akira Ichijo says yes, Itiaho. The girl explains not to be shy and says to drink as much as she can. He says he's not in the mood for a drink, and it's pointless. The girl thanks him for waiting and says they've brought large mugs of beer. The girl explains that you can go home, jump out the window, or do something else if you drain the mug faster than her, but only in this case. Akira Ichijo says he understands. The girl asks if they have a deal, and he agrees. He says to drink it all and quickly finishes the drink. The girl says she must have won, explaining that they haven't chatted so leisurely in a long time, though they used to chat often on the way home from school activities. Akira Ichijo says that this girl is incredibly fast and that he's drunk half of his drink. The girl says she remembers him losing his application when he first started working and laughs about it. He says he acted like it was the end of the world and had a scared face. Akira Ichijo says that this really happened back then. The girl says that Akira has a similar expression on his face now. She explains that she's not worried about him as a boss and asks if something happened to him, asking him to tell her. He says he can't believe it happened. The girl asks if she has any proof. Akira Ichijo explains that if he says the world will be destroyed by monsters within the next few hours, he wants to know if she will believe him. The man asks if he has proof. The man points to the timer, which has 0 remaining. He announces that in a few minutes, they're going to show live images of a dragon discovered in China and published on a website. The girl asks about the dragon. Akira Ichijo explains that he lives his life in this world over and over again, explaining that it's not like others are wrong. The girl asks if he's a psychic, to which Akira Ichijo replies that he's not. The girl is surprised and asks how he knew about it. He says it all happened because of one skill. The girl asks what a skill is. The girl explains that, as part of an experiment, he's asking her to pronounce the word status. The girl says, status. The girl says she doesn't understand what's happening, asks if she's hallucinating, and claims she hasn't had that much to drink yet. The girl screams and falls to the floor. Akira Ichijo explains that this is not a hallucination, but a status that no one else can see, and says that thanks to his status's special skill, he can resurrect infinitely. The girl says he believes her now, and explains that the reason for his depression is the so-called resurrection skim. Then the girl adds that here's how. Akira Ichijo says that this is true, and the girl asks how many times he has done this looping. He says he can't say for sure, but at least the inhabitants of that city are eventually killed by a monster called the Minotaur. The girl says 15 times, adding that she's never survived past noon on that day. She also asks what happened to the people, and the girl asks why it's half a day. Akira Ichijo explains that after that time, monsters that appear in this world gain a boost. He explains that whether he's out of sight or not, the empowered Minotaur finds and kills him, after which he returns to the past and lives his life again, but cannot die and will be constantly killed. The girl says that she no longer knows what to do, and no matter what. Akira Ichijo says he can't escape this hell, and there's no point in talking to anyone about it. The girl sits silently at the table across from him. The girl says she asks for understanding. He says he's tired and asks to be left alone. Akira Ichijo is silent, and the girl says he's forgotten himself. Akira Ichijo asks, "Hey," the girl shouts, "he's forgotten himself." The girl says the conversation isn't over yet and asks to sit down quickly. The man talks about. Akira Ichijo says that although they had a serious conversation, he didn't expect this. He reports that she's had too much to drink. Akira Ichijo begins to speak, addressing the girl. He shouts that he's a complete idiot. The man reacts with surprise to Akira's words and says that he's tried it at least once with someone who's still limp. The girl asks the man if he's tried it. Akira Ichijo says we need to defeat the Minotaur before it gets stronger. The guy says he hasn't tried it and asks why. The girl says the neighboring village is full of orcs, and another town nearby is ruled by a giant monster, so she sees no hope for peace after this, and even if she deals with the Minotaur, it will all happen again. The girl asks if Akira Ichijo has surrendered and says that. He says, "Stop it." The man begs for mercy and says that he has no choice but to surrender, and if possible, he would like to die right now. The girl says she doesn't want to live in such a world alone. Akira Ichijo tells her not to say that. The girl remains silent, and then she cries. He says he's on the other guy's side. The girl says Ichijo isn't alone, no matter when or in what world. Akira Ichijo says he left them to die, but asks them not to worry about him. The girl explains that if he can finally laugh and have a drink with her, so be it. The girl says that no matter how bitter and hard it is, she will support Akira Ichijo. The girl tells him not to talk about dying in front of her anymore, and Akira Ichijo calls her an idiot. Akira Ichijo explains that he's definitely died many times and always forgets. He says that he decided to protect this girl, and at the same time, the girl says, "That's why you shouldn't say chow chow like, I want to die. Akira Ichijo says, in surprise, that she's still crying. He says there's no need to be so downhearted, and offers her water to sober up. The girl says she behaved too badly. The girl says she needs it. She notices the guy has a runny nose. The girl explains that she looks ugly again and says, oh. The guy laughs. Akira Ichijo reports that the interlocutors are being stupidly frank. The girl shouts something in response. The woman says that the talk of stupidity was unnecessary and asks him to be more serious. He says he will fight the Minotaur, and the woman replies that then she will be with him. He drinks from the mug. Akira Ichijo says that until he can win, how many more times will he need to relive this life? The girl says that then the real her will break up with him. He tells Now that he doesn't know exactly when, but he will definitely save her one day. Now replies that she will wait. The text states that this city will sooner or later be destroyed by the Minotaur, and if this future is not avoided, both he and Now will die. Akira Ichijo says status. Akira Ichijo stands on the street, surrounded by bodies, and makes a ha sound. He says that even though he said he defeated the Minotaur, with the current level difference, there's no point in even trying. He explains that he needs to level up. He reports that with 10 bronze trophies, he increased his vitality by 5. Akira Ichijo says that the goblins won't level him up anymore, so he needs to find another target, and he thinks there should be a monster with a similar level somewhere. He says it's time to go. Akira Ichijo reports that he's walking down a deserted street. Then he notices something and expresses surprise. The image shows 2 barrels rolling across a tiled floor. The rustling sounds come from the overturned bucket. Akira Ichijo says it could be a monster or a goblin and suggests killing it just in case. A girl screams in surprise as she gets stuck in a trash can. He asks if it's a girl. The girl replies that it's not a monster. The girl asks to be saved, and the guy shouts at her, hey. The boy asks the girl if she's looking for her younger sister. The girl explains that she and her mother were heading to a shelter and lost her sister along the way. She then explains that she came to find her but encountered a monster. Akira Ichijo says he understands the situation, but asks if that's why the girl climbed into the trash can. He asks if the girl is too close because it's hard for her to walk. The girl apologizes and says she's scared and thinks she wet herself. Raven explains that he's only 25 years old and isn't a big shot. Akira Ichijo says everything is fine and asks her to let him go. Otherwise, he won't be able to take action if something happens. The girl replies, Akira Ichijo explains that it's a crow. The girl makes a surprised sound, The man and the girl react to the sound, crow. He says that he needs to level up as quickly as possible and not waste time on such things. And the girl asks how he decided to go on a quest when he's so afraid. The girl explains that she can't just stand there because her sister Mai does the same when she thinks someone is crying, and that's why she absolutely wants to find that child. Akira Ichijo remains silent. He says these are tongues. Akira Ichijo says, don't step. Girl says, don't step. Man says, don't step. The girl says that these tongues are a monster, a man-eating plant. He says that if you step on them, they will wrap around your body and pull you inside. Akira Ichijo says nothing will happen if you don't touch them, and suggests pulling yourself together and coming here. The girl responds curtly, saying, He tells her to pull herself together. The girl says that her legs are numb and she can't move. The girl screams and tries to hold on so as not to fall. Akira Ichijo asks if everything is okay. The girl remains silent and looks surprised. He says it will be a difficult path, and the girl thanks him. Akira Ichijo says that Mai's backpack. Mai tells Akira Ichijo that this time. The girl shouts May, the boy shouts hey, and runs after her. A level 9 man-eating plant has 15 vitality, 22 muscular strength, 20 stamina, 17 speed, 8 magic power, and 3 luck. However, information about the plant and its skills cannot be displayed due to its insufficient level. The girl screams and cries. Akira Ichijo tells him to step back. Mai states her name. He informs that if you are within reach, you will be in danger. Akira Ichijo says there's no time to hesitate. The girl tells him not to move. Akira Ichijo shouts that Mai mustn't move. He rushes forward sharply. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful sword strike, creating a whirlwind that cuts through the space around him. He turns sharply and warns of danger. Akira Ichijo shouts that one goblin expedition isn't enough. The girl says that at this rate, things are going to hell and everyone will be eaten. The girl screams, "Hiya," and runs forward. He and the girl with short dark hair react in surprise. He asks what she's doing, and the girl warns him that he'll kill her. The girl screams, "Mai" and "little sister." The boy screams, "little sister." The girl says, "It's okay, little sister will definitely save her, so she needs to calm down." Akira Ichijo says he can't believe this happened. The girl says, "Little sister," and he grabs the other girl's hand and abruptly pulls her away, carrying her away. The girl says it's not just a snake, but something else. Akira Ichijo explains that it's a creature he must destroy. He reports that the level has increased from a total of 8 to a total of 9. Akira Ichijo reports that he was saved by being tethered to other people, breathing heavily. Akira Ichijo kneels in a narrow alleyway between trash bags. He says, "Little sister," and says he's so happy. The girls cry and hug. Akira Ichijo says he's not leaving and that he'll stay by her side. The girl says she doesn't want him to see her like this and asks him to leave. He says that saving people is not so bad. The girl says she apologizes. The girl thanks Akira Ichijo for saving her and says they will never forget his kindness. Akira Ichijo replies that it's nothing special. He says it's impossible because the head is torn off. Akira Ichijo says he can't believe this happened. The man says he didn't mean to hurt anyone. The scene depicts a girl lying on the floor in a pool of blood. There are no visible speech bubbles. Akira Ichijo says he doesn't understand how this is possible. He yells a curse as he collides with the monster. The monster's information appears: level 22, vitality 45, muscle power 70, endurance 20, speed 18, magic power 16, luck 8, species information, and the girl reports that 2 precious lives have been lost and also states the title of the chapter, The Cannibal. Akira Ichijo explains that if he can't control his abilities, he could harm others and even himself. He says that's why he decided to isolate himself to prevent anyone from getting hurt. He says a swear word. Akira Ichijo advises against trying to fight this ogre because the level difference is too great. He explains that there's no other option but to flee. He says he has to run, but he doesn't move and wonders why he's like this. The girl and the woman cry and say they can't. Akira Ichijo says he's not in the mood to escape. In the bottom panel, Akira Ichijo stands before a huge, long-limbed monster on a narrow street. The image shows a close-up of an open mouth with sharp teeth and a tongue inside. Akira Ichijo says that it's a heavy and fast attack, and if he hits it cleanly, he'll die, but only if he hits it. He makes a quick stab with a knife. The voice informs that the enemy's defense is weak, and he does not lose his composure despite the difference in levels. Akira Ichijo says he defeats him and shouts, "Yo-oh!" He reacts sharply to what's happening, knife in hand. He announces that he's defeated the Goblin expedition, then explains that he's the one who did it and rushes forward with a clenched fist. Akira Ichijo shouts that he will crush his opponent and strikes. He then announces that he succeeded. He says it's not just a scar, but a mark from being involved with someone. He explains that it happened when he was a child and that this person was very important to him. Akira Ichijo explains that this creature is the result of experiments and warns that it is extremely dangerous. The man advises that they must act quickly and prevent its escape. He says that we need to dodge. He says that regeneration is happening. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful punch, creating a powerful burst of energy. The scene depicts a cityscape with a street between buildings, along which something is rushing at high speed, accompanied by the sound of an impact or sudden movement. Akira Ichijo reports that a disaster has occurred in the city, explaining that the streets are covered in debris and blood. He explains that cars are wrecked and people are injured and trying to escape the danger zone. He says, "Ha ha ha." The guy says that this world is incredibly cruel. The girl says that's exactly why. The woman with the child says that despite this, Akira Ichijo says that it is something he cannot understand and that it is something he cannot defeat. The right panel depicts a creature with a flower for a head, standing on a building and making sounds. The left panel reports that the creature suddenly opened its mouth. Akira Ichijo says he can't give in. The man calls him Benzo. On the right side of the stage, a truck flips onto its roof. In the upper left, a man says the word "woos." In the lower left, a monster's face with sharp teeth is depicted. The image contains no text or speech from the characters, but shows a powerful explosion near a multi-story building. The image shows an open mouth with sharp teeth against a background of chaotic black and white brushstrokes, without text or speech. The man says he's quite shriveled up and asks if he can't regenerate yet. Akira Ichijo says that even plant monsters are vulnerable to fire, and that's the rule. He informs that the level has increased. The overall level has changed from 9 to 15 and offers to split the 20 points in half. Akira Ichijo says that even with people who are important to him, he is still weak. The girl says that she can't save anyone and can't protect anyone. In the top right, Akira Ichijo says the word status. In the bottom right, 3 wolves are depicted making sounds. In the bottom left, a description of the passive skill Body Strengthening at level 2, which increases muscle strength, stamina, and speed, is shown, along with a question about spending 20 points to increase it. It is reported that the skill Body Strengthening LV2 has been acquired. Akira Ichijo says he'll try to fix this shitty world. He reports his stats: level 8 out of 15, vitality 22, muscle power 37, endurance 31, speed 26, luck 16, points gained 0, special skill. The manga title says it's chapter 10, titled Transcending Death. Akira Ichijo says it's almost there. Then he explains, On stage, a giant beetle battles a robot, causing a devastating blow to a building. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful blow to the giant scorpion, tearing its body apart. He says he knew that waiting for a medium-sized monster would be an easy way to defeat him, and mentions the perk of rebirth. He then asks if the level up has finally happened. Akira Ichijo reports that his overall level has risen to 25 and he's accumulated 10 points, but he's died 3 times since then. He explains that his body strength level is still far off, and that once he reaches level 3, he'll definitely be able to defeat the Minotaur. Akira Ichijo explains. He says the fastest way to get points is to get quest rewards, but Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful punch to a large monster, ripping its body apart. He explains that the main quest involves conquering the Minotaur and asks why no more small fry monsters appeared after the goblins. Akira Ichijo reports that there is no monster stronger than him in the city, not to mention the Minotaur. He says he wants to know what's going on and if there are any other good skills. Akira Ichijo says that this skill is a passive skill that allows living beings who do not have the ability to use magical power to master it, and the degree of ability depends on the size of the circuits created in the body, which depend on the skill level, and reports that the price of acquiring a magical circuit is. He says that if it is what he thinks it is, then a message appears about acquiring a level 1 magic circuit. Akira Ichijo says that, as expected, his magic power has increased. He reports that he's gained 10 points and reveals his stats: vitality 32, muscle strength 77, endurance 71, speed 66, magic power 1, luck 26. He explains that if he levels up, increases this power, and combines it with that skill, then even at level 30 he will be able to compete with the Minotaur. Akira Ichijo announces that there are 5 levels left, then says, okay, and moves forward. He reports that there's very little time left. He can't give up and will definitely defeat the Minotaur and save Naosan. The 19th, 21st, and 23rd deaths are confirmed, the level is increased, and the Bronze Trophy Hunter is earned. Level increased from overall 29 to overall 30. The headline states that death has been confirmed for the 19th time. Akira Ichijo says, addressing himself, "Hey, Ichijo?" The girl says the guy has the nerve to ignore his boss, and she squeezes his neck. The guy says yes. The girl says Ichijo has always been so strong and asks him about it. Akira Ichijo remains silent and addresses the girl as Naosan. He says that thanks to her words, he has held on until now and hasn't taken a step back. The girl thanks him from the bottom of her heart. The girl says she doesn't understand why it happened so suddenly. Akira Ichijo says that when it's all over, he'd like her to listen to him. The girl explains that until that very moment, you can't leave work, even if something is happening outside. The woman tells Ichijo she doesn't understand what's going on, and Ichijo says he'll leave. The man yells at Ichijo to wait. A school building is depicted in the background. Akira Ichijo says he is now moving on to the next step. He says there are no problems with the magic of value. He says that weapons are only for hand-to-hand combat. Then he explains that he'll take that skill last, and Akira Ichijo reports that he has done all he can, and all that remains is to strike. A man with a beard announces that he's breaking up and can't take it anymore, and another man asks him to wait, saying he loves him more than anyone. A man in a suit warns him not to drink so much, and a man with a beard makes a buzzy sound. Akira Ichijo reports that it's the same as back then and that it started here. A quest opening message appears, stating that the monster that struck Akira Ichijo last time is a Minotaur, and the quest completion condition is to destroy the Minotaur. Akira Ichijo stands outside. He says he can't fight this monster because it has no power. The monster says it doesn't intend to fight but wants to make a deal with him. Akira Ichijo says he's come to get even and notices the terrifying atmosphere. He explains that his arms and legs are shaking, the pain and fear have returned, and that he has no choice but to do this. The image contains no text or speech. It shows a horned monster performing a powerful move that causes destruction and flying rocks. The scene depicts an explosion destroying the building and sending debris flying outward. The man expresses surprise. Akira Ichijo says he's figured out the enemy's attack pattern. He delivers a powerful blow to the horned monster, tearing its mouth apart. Akira Ichijo says he'll start with this and calls the opponent a skin sun. The sound of wind can be heard outside. Akira Ichijo leaps upward, tearing apart the ground and rocks beneath him. A man announces the start of a fierce battle. To be continued. Against the backdrop of a city at night, Akira Ichijo announces that this is Chapter 11, titled VS, Minotaur. The girl says what's going on there and remains silent. Akira Ichijo tells him not to leave work even if something is happening outside and asks if something happened at Ichijo's place. He jumps and punches the horned monster, causing it to shatter the ground and lift the car. Akira Ichijo says that even though he's figured out the enemy's attack pattern, he still says damn. Then Akira Ichijo yells no as the axe-wielding monster strikes. He screams as he falls through the broken glass and the ruined wall of the building and reports that such power, even though he only touched it lightly. Akira Ichijo reports that his muscle strength is 190 and his stamina is 76. He explains that one serious blow will result in his death. The demon explains that, as expected, this is the limit. He reports that this is the limit. Akira Ichijo says, "What should I use?" Then a message appears saying the sprint skill has been used and has 60 seconds remaining. The man states that he cannot afford to lose and explains that if he falls, he will die. Akira Ichijo explains the need to reduce excess force with minimal movement and focus on one point. He shouts that the momentum is too great for that kind of force. The man shouts that it worked. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful punch, breaking the wall and knocking the man backwards. He delivers a powerful blow to the monster, piercing its body and destroying the wall. He is then thrown back through the gap in the wall with force. Akira Ichijo reports that his sprint skill exceeds his speed. Akira Ichijo runs toward the demon. He states that he has gained magical power and status through the magic scheme skill, and sprint increases speed in exchange for one magical power. Akira Ichijo explains that sprint is an active skill that consumes the user's magic power and increases speed for 1 minute, with the increased value fixed by the magic value in the status, and, after consumption, the sprint skill level X increases by 10. He explains that, however, the limit is. He says he will definitely finish it off. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful blow to the monster, ripping its body apart. The attack causes the building structure to collapse, sending debris falling. He says that even after many attacks, the enemy does not receive a blow that could knock him down. The character with horn says that once the skill expires, he will be defeated and demands to think about what other way there is. Akira Ichijo jumps and strikes, destroying the wall. He says that's right, but what if it? At the top right edge of the building, a wall collapses, sending debris flying. Sound effects convey the loud impact and destruction. Akira Ichijo says that of course he is strong. The monster says the metal frame will hold up, but Akira Ichijo says this is the end. He says it worked. Akira Ichijo reports that the enemy has been defeated. The monster reports that it has finally been defeated. He says that it worked. Akira Ichijo says he's tired, and at the same time, a man breathes heavily and laughs. He says that he finished with difficulty, and then laughs and says that now it is the other person's turn. Akira Ichijo says he'll take a short break and then go back to Naosan. He says, ha ha. Akira Ichijo says it's weird. The man says the quest completion screen doesn't appear. The image shows the moment Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful kick to the opponent's head, causing massive destruction and flying debris. He announces that he is not going to give up and explains that he will fight until the end. Akira Ichijo says the other person is joking and tries to say something but can't finish his sentence. The monster says that even after this, he doesn't know how to die. He announces that something bad is about to happen. Then a message appears about using the sprint skill with a remaining duration of 42.87 seconds. There are no speech bubbles or text in the image. The character stands in the center, surrounded by crumbling rocks and energy. No one speaks or communicates anything. The right page depicts buildings and trees, accompanied by sounds. The left page shows a cityscape with people walking along the street and over a bridge, also accompanied by sounds. There is no text or character speech. A guy says it's creepy, a man says he heard a scream, another man explains he doesn't understand what it was. The scene depicts a powerful explosion or impact that destroys part of a building and sends debris into the air, while people on the street watch the action. The man says bomb, the girl asks what happened, and the man explains what it is. A man says, a man suddenly fell from the sky and is surprised that it really is a man. The woman says someone needs to call an ambulance. She asks if they're alive. The man asks what kind of hole it is, calling it a terrorist attack and saying it's terrifying. Akira Ichijo says he's not sure if he's alive, explaining that he can't feel his body and can't move. The girl asks how he is and is surprised that he used the sprint, but it still happened. He explains that it only happened because of his roar. The man tells the girl to run faster. The girl says it can't be true and asks him not to joke. Akira Ichijo says it's true and explains that he actually saw it with his own eyes. The man says it's true and asks if it's CG. The woman asks what it is. The man in glasses stares silently at his phone. The man in the hoodie asks what happened. The woman and the man in the suit say it's true. The girl says it's cool and calls the creature a mystery man. The guy yells, "Wow!" The man asks what it is and asks to see. Akira Ichijo screams as he strikes a horned monster. The woman says they need to wait, and he expresses bewilderment. Akira Ichijo reports that the creature cannot be human and explains that it resembles a demon. The man and woman watch the creature, which makes loud noises and tries to escape from its cage. The guy yells, "Don't stand still and get out of the way," and he says, "Shoot." Two men also say, "Shoot." Akira Ichijo says that everything is all ready. The monster roars and tears people apart. He says that he cannot be defeated. Akira Ichijo says it's impossible for him. It's always been that way, and he's always failed at crucial moments in love, work, and the club. He explains that everyone will die because of him, and he can't protect or save anyone. On a ruined street stands a monster with horns and a muscular body emitting steam from its mouth. Akira Ichijo says that he cannot die because his body belongs to a demon and explains that if he dies, the demon will die too. He reports that he cannot afford to die here. The girl yells for the big guy to turn around. The man makes a rustling sound. Akira Ichijo says, "Ha," and the girl calls him Nao-san. The woman reports that it's an enemy and the monster is making a sound. He tells Naosa that he already told him not to go outside and asks what he's doing, and Naosa tries to say something and asks him to hurry. The girl with the stick says, "Run." The woman says she doesn't understand what exactly the other person is saying. The girl says that caring for subordinates is the boss's responsibility. Akira Ichijo says he can't believe this happened. The woman says that this way Nao-san will die. Akira Ichijo says to move, repeating this several times with increasing tension. He says he fought for more than just survival. Akira Ichijo says he'll risk everything for this second. He tells me he won't let them take away my will. Akira Ichijo explains that I'll definitely save you, and a message appears about using the sprint skill with 0.96 seconds remaining. He says that it is hard to breathe, his whole body feels hot as if it is burning, and he has already exceeded the limit of his strength, but he is not dying and is still alive. The monster says he will never allow Nao-san to be killed. The girl says she won't allow Nao-san to be killed. Remaining second. At this second, the sprint skill is applied. The remaining duration is 0.96 seconds. Akira Ichijo says he will risk everything. A woman reports that the sprint skill has been applied and has 751 seconds remaining. A man reports that the sprint skill has been applied and has 7563 seconds remaining. A group of people watch the action. Akira Ichijo says that if he can't win, he'll die. Then he says he can't afford to die. The woman says that if she can't win, she will die and asks him not to kill her. The man says he doesn't intend to kill her but wants her to be his wife. Akira Ichijo says he can't believe this happened. He calls himself by name. The girl asks if he's feeling unwell and says that if anything's bothering him, he can consult with her. She explains that if she can just laugh and have a drink with him, so be it. The girl says that one day she will definitely save Akira. The girl says she will wait. Akira Ichijo says he still has time. He grabs an axe and delivers a powerful blow, destroying the stones in front of him and attacking the enemy. Akira Ichijo reports that the sprint skill has been applied and has 0.03 seconds remaining. It says that the sprint skill has been applied, with 0.2 seconds remaining. Then it says that the sprint skill has been applied, with 0.201 seconds remaining. The man runs towards a large monster with an axe. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful spear thrust into the demon's chest, ripping through its body and causing an explosion of rocks and lightning around it. He informs him that if he doesn't stop this now, the city will be destroyed. He explains that he must use all his power to deal with the threat. Akira Ichijo says that if he can't win, he will die. He explains that he can't allow himself to die because he has a reason to live. He says that there are only two types of people in this world, those who fight and those who die. He explains that if you don't fight, you'll die, and if you fight, you might die, but you might also survive. The man says that he chose. The image shows a huge monster with horns and sharp teeth that is roaring or making a loud noise. The woman says she can't believe it happened. Then she says she can't understand why it happened to her. A boy and a girl talk about what happened, expressing surprise. Akira Ichijo reports that he knocked someone down. The man and the other boy express amazement. He reports that the C-Class quest, Minotaur, has been defeated, with a 1-for-1 kill, and a reward has been issued. He explains that a silver trophy has been received for a major victory, which grants perks, vitality plus 20, muscle. The woman reports that the boss monster has been conquered and the global reversal progression rate is slowing. Akira Ichijo reports that the level has been raised from 30 to 38 and 8 points have been earned. He says he's done for this time, and he's just done for. Akira Ichijo shouts his name. The girl says that he says Naosa, then announces that he is alive. Akira Ichijo tells her he can't let himself die because he wants to see her smile. She explains she can't let him die because she cares about him. The girl says that Iznin is so exhausted and asks why he is. Akira Ichijo asks Naosan to listen to him and tells him about what happened before, and Naosan says that before that they need to go and have a drink. It is reported that the disorder imprinted in the soul has been overcome. A new effect has been added to the resurrection skill, and an additional effect has made the system functions of the inventory and script available. The death toll in our country has already exceeded 3 million. As a result of the monster invasion, both in our country and around the world, government institutions continue to disintegrate. The boy asks Akira Ichijo what level he is now, and Akira Ichijo replies that he's at 6. The man says he's not sure if they'll survive and expresses a desire to befriend the bull. He speaks like a bull. The man explains that this is the guy people had been talking about since the monsters appeared. The man shows his phone and says, "Look, here he is." Akira Ichijo reports that an unknown bull-like creature with a huge axe has been brought down, calling it Bull Boy. He says he thinks it may still be in this city. The woman says to Ichigo, offering to eat an apple. Akira Ichijo says Naosan will eat it. Nao says they're hard to come by now, so if the opportunity arises, it's best to eat it. He says thank you very much, the girl replies. Uh-huh. Akira Ichijo reports that, since the battle with the Minotaur, he seems to have been in bed for 2 days straight. According to Naoi-san, the hospital they are in is being heavily defended by the self-defense forces and appears to be in a relatively safe condition. Akira Ichijo reports that internet users, who had access to the status window from day 1, were among the first to understand the existence of levels and status. He explains that it has now become commonplace. He says he'd like to ask Nao-san about levels. Nao nods in response. Akira Ichijo asks how she's feeling and advises her to get some sleep. She apologizes for the interruption and says she's fine, she's not sleeping at all. The image shows birds flying over an empty bed in a room. There is no text or speech. A girl sleeps with her head resting on her folded arms on a table. Akira Ichijo says they're now moving on to the next problem. He reports that the global reversal rate is progressing at 2.66%. 2 days passed, and it was 2.66%. Naosan told Akira Ichijo that around midnight, it seemed to increase by 1% as the day went by. Akira Ichijo reported that it used to accumulate 1% in half a day, but it was clearly noticeable that the speed had slowed down. He reports that the boss monster has been defeated, and the global reversal progression rate is decreasing. He explains that this is due to the defeat of the monster and is likely affected by the progression rate decrease. Akira Ichijo says that if you don't kill the boss monster, the speed of the global reversal progression will increase, the monster's power will increase, and the chances of winning will decrease. He says that someone has to take the initiative and defeat the bosses, and explains that at the moment that someone can only be him. Akira Ichijo says that he is not some kind of hero and does not intend to become one. He only wanted to protect Nao-san. The girl says that if she can protect at least her, that will be enough. The man reacts to her words with surprise. Akira Ichijo says how, and the girl asks San. The woman speaks, asking something, and he lies in bed and looks at her. Akira Ichijo says he can't believe Nao-san suddenly approached him. Nao-san apologizes and turns to Akira. The girl says it's delicious and makes a yum-yum sound. Akira Ichijo says he talks in his sleep. He says that it smells nice and says that for now, something needs to be done with the wounded body, and then let it lie down. Akira Ichijo reports a status with level 9 stats, including Vitality 65, Muscle Strength 15, Endurance 84, Speed 99, Magic Power 13 to 14, Luck 39, Points Received 58, Special Skill Resurrection, System Functions, Inventory. He says they definitely appeared after the Minotaur's defeat. He reports that something else was added, system functions, an inventory, and a script, and clarifies that these are the inventory and the script. Akira Ichijo says it's the same inventory as in the games, where you can place items. He says inventory and asks if I should check it. Then he says something has been added but only the X1 smartphone. Akira Ichijo explains that it doesn't look like the smartphone will disappear from his hand on its own and says he doesn't quite understand. He says he's deleting the script that prompts him to remove the smartphone from his inventory. The man asks what the script is. The man says, activation? It says the script is currently not activated. Akira Ichijo says he can't use any specific description yet. The girl explains that he can figure it out later. The man then says, he says that he's accumulated what he's been waiting for. He reports the points he's earned and asks whether he should use them to purchase skills. Akira Ichijo says that we need to wait and shows his game stats, level 9 out of 38, Vitality 65, Muscle Power 11.5, Endurance 84, Speed 99, Magic Power 13 out of 14, Luck 39, Points Gained 58, and a special. He says that the Magic Power indicator has been reduced, and at the same time explains that these mysterious brackets mean the original value. Akira Ichijo says that the sprint skill doesn't restore the amount of magic used, and the magic value itself is the number of times the skill can be used. He explains that in this case, magic restoring skills should be prioritized, and says he'll take this and that. He says that the deed is done, and it is reported that the following skills have been acquired: Magic Power Recovery, LV1, Automatic Regeneration, LV1, Body Strengthening, LV3, and Sixth Sense, LV1. Akira Ichijo reports that it's now necessary to check how long the Magicka Recovery skill takes. The text block explains that Magicka Recovery is a passive skill that restores lost Magicka over time, and the recovery time varies depending on the skill's level. He explains that the second skill is a level 1 automatic regeneration skill, a passive skill that heals physical damage and restores the body to its original state over time, with the regeneration speed depending on the skill level. He states that this skill restores physical strength with Akira Ichijo explains that the third skill is the body strengthening skill, which took a whopping 30 points. He says that from the third level it increases by 50. He says that this is enough to fight even with strengthened monsters. The final skill is described as Sixth Sense, which enhances intuition and can be useful in emergency situations. Akira Ichijo reports that it costs 12 points. The skill description states that its owner, in addition to the 5 senses, is endowed with sensory abilities. He says, The girl says there are 2 points left and asks if she should increase the power of the sprint applied to magic, and she says, The woman explains that 1 point doesn't equal a 1 point increase in value and asks if she should then become a mousehead, adding that she can even shape her body however she wants. The man explains that it's only 2 points and asks if the value has increased by as much as 6. Akira Ichijo says. The girl says, "Good morning," and he replies, "Ah." The girl says she doesn't understand how this happened and asks what's going on. Akira Ichijo says the girl was half asleep and eventually lay down. The girl says that's exactly what happened. She asks if Akira Ichijo will cry. Akira Ichijo answers briefly. The girl says that if she says that she doesn't want to get off, then what? Akira Ichijo says he doesn't understand what's going on. The woman says that this may be exactly what he thinks. The woman says that there are only the 2 of them in the room, and she stares at him with dark eyes. Akira Ichijo speaks to Hao-san. He says he can't afford to be weak, because then he won't be able to protect her. The girl explains that she will always be there to support him. The man says he apologizes for the intrusion and introduces himself as a major in the Japan Ground Self-Defense Forces, then explains that his name is Karube and that he rushed here as soon as he heard that Ichijo-san. The man says he's awake. The girl remains silent. Akira Ichijo screams, and the girl apologizes and tells him not to rush. He says that everything was misunderstood and asks to wait. The man says he'll only take a little time. Akira Ichijo and the girl listen to him. Korone Minoru explains that the Japanese self-defense forces are currently protecting this hospital from monsters, along with some of the people present, including Nanase-san. Akira Ichijo asks if Nao-san is the same. Nao explains that there aren't many members of the Japan self-defense forces, so people who can move, including herself, sometimes fight alongside them. Akira Ichijo asks how that is. He reports that in recent days people are increasingly remembering that it was thanks to him that the Minotaur was defeated, and he expresses sincere gratitude for saving many residents of this city. Akira Ichijo says that for them, he is the savior and hope of all humanity. He says it's nothing special. The girl says okay. The man explains that they're urgently asking for Ichijo-san's attention. The other man says they're here and says hello, saying he'll just bother them for a minute. The man says he is the Ichijo he was told about and asks who the man in front of him is. Akira Ichijo says that, The man says that this is the same guy who defeated the boss monster, and notes that at level 9, this is extremely weak. He expresses doubt. The man says that Akira Ichijo looks like a worn-out rag, and says that there is no need to expect help from him in the near future. The girl listens. The man asks Matsumoto why he came. Matsumoto explains that he just came to see what the guy looked like, and that he didn't come for anything, just disappointed. Akira Ichijo says this is his type, and asks who the girl is. The man expresses surprise. The guy asks the girl how old she is and what her name is, and says he really likes her because she's lived here all this time. The girl explains that at her previous hospital there were a lot of boys she didn't even want to protect, and adds that the same can't be said about this hospital. Akira Ichijo says that he has decided and announces that the girl will be his girlfriend. The girl says she doesn't understand what's going on and expresses bewilderment. The man says that monsters are getting stronger now due to something called the global reversal factor, and this rag won't protect him in any way. The girl explains that she thinks he and his boss just got lucky. The man says he has a level of 25 and is the highest in the entire hospital, as well as the strongest. The guy says there's no need to rush and suggests they talk about the future. The girl suggests going to her room. The girl asks to listen to her. The man suddenly grabs the wrist and expresses strong surprise. Akira Ichijo says that Nao-san is already getting nervous and asks if he can ask them to leave. The man reacts with surprise. The man says he's addressing the little one and starts saying, "Who are you?" The man grabs the other man's wrist. The man screams in pain and surprise, saying his arm is about to rip apart and asking where he gets such strength. Akira Ichijo explains that he's only level 9. The man is surprised and says that's strange because he's only level 9. The man is shocked again. He says, "Then where do these stats come from?" Information about him appears. Level 9, Vitality 65, Muscle Power 165, Endurance 34, Speed 149, Magic Power 19, Luck 39.0. Information about the individual and available. The man says he's going to finish me off now. Akira Ichijo says he's sorry and only wanted to gently restrain the man, who says he overestimated his strength and makes a pained noise. The man makes a pained noise. The man tells Makimoto to go already, and then begins to choke and make sounds of labored breathing. The man yells, "Fuck you." The man apologizes to both of them for being rude. The girl remains silent. Akira Ichijo says it's okay. The man asks what the request is. Akira Ichijo suggests they return to that conversation. He informs them that they are in a difficult combat situation due to frequent unexpected monster attacks, and also explains that there are people who have seen a figure similar to the boss monster, and warns that if it breaks into the hospital, they will not be able to defeat it. A man asks for help to defeat this boss. The girl tells Akira Ichijo about it. Akira Ichijo says it's expected. The woman says she thinks it's too cruel, however. The woman reports that Ichijo fought desperately with the monster there, nearly met his death, and his body has not yet recovered. He tells Nao-san that he understands, but that is all he can say. Akira Ichijo states that he knows that despite his low level, he has incredible status indicators, and adds that he won't even ask how strong he is. A man asks to lend his strength for the sake of the remaining survivors. A man begs to lend his strength. Akira Ichijo says he heard it and will take care of it, ordering her to get up. The girl shouts Ichijo's name. The man remains silent. The girl says she is truly grateful from the bottom of her heart. Akira Ichijo says that there are no people other than him who can handle the boss monster, and expresses doubt that this is really true. The girl says it was cruel. He looks at her. The girl says that the time loop is tiring and repeating, even though Akira Ichijo finally defeated the monster. He says that he's again forced to fight with a different monster, and at the same time reminds that they demanded this on the day when he just woke up, and his body had not yet healed. The girl says that we can at least give a little break. Akira Ichijo says the girl won't understand what he's talking about now. The girl remains silent, resting her hand on her cheek. He says that he had already given up hope of fighting. The girl says that she has been given back the courage to fight, and it was he who made her understand that she was not alone. Akira says he will fight to protect someone dear to him and asks not to worry about him. explaining that he will do everything in his power to turn the boss. The girl says this person is dear to her. The girl says that then she will also go with him to subdue the boss. Akira Ichijo announces that he will go to subdue the boss. He says that if he goes with Naosan, he will be a burden, but Naosan explains that this is not true and asks him to look at the situation differently. Akira Ichijo says he can't bear the thought of the girl going against the boss alone, and that it's absolutely wrong. The girl says she wants to fight alongside him even if she does. The girl asks Akira Ichijo to take her with him. He replies that he will take her with him. Akira Ichijo says to Naosan, then the doorbell rings. It is reported that a special condition has been met and the script has been activated. A script featuring Nanase now and Akira Ichijo has appeared. Nanase now understands the situation and wants to help, suggesting that they join forces to defeat the boss that has appeared in this world. Akira Ichijo says that this is what? It is reported that the acceptance of this script is optional and there is a right to refuse it, while for the duration of the script, the power of resurrection will continue to operate on Nanase now, and at the moment the script ends, Nanase now will lose this power. The girl informs Nanase now and her interlocutor about the script launch and asks them to choose an answer. Akira Ichijo says he doesn't understand. The girl says the script runs at this moment and asks why now. She tells him to run Nanase now's script together with the person he's talking to and asks him to choose yes or no. The girl asks what's going on. Akira Ichijo explains that a window popped up informing him that a script has been activated. The girl asks what a script is. He says he can't be sure yet what he's thinking. The girl explains that the creaking appeared because she intended to help him. The girl says that ultimately, even if she dies there with Akira Ichijo, she can be resurrected, and this script is just right for them if they want to overthrow the boss. Akira Ichijo says okay, he accepts the script. He explains that resurrection is not just an omnipotent force, as one might think, but hell, where one cannot die, even if one wants to. The girl says that she knows. The girl says she's already made up her mind and won't back down no matter what. Akira Ichijo says she really hasn't listened to him since he started talking about it a long time ago. He says that he can't just let Naosan go through the agony of death, and then he has to save her at all costs. The girl says she knows, and says there is no turning back. Akira Ichijo says that he accepts the script, after which it is announced that Nanase Now's script, together with you, has been launched, and from that moment on, Nanase Now has the ability to revive like the others. It is reported that the clear condition for completing the script will be the subjugation of the boss monster together with Nanase Now, while the number of defeated boss monsters is 0 out of 1. Akira Ichijo says that if they were to work together now, it would be better to use their combined status and skills. Now agrees that that's probably how it should be. He says he now sees how many skills the girl had and understands why she's so strong. The girl explains that she'll now look at her status, her vitality. He asks her not to be so blunt. The woman says that with her current level of analysis, she can see them for herself. The man explains what they are. Information about the character Nanase Now appears, level 16, with the following stats: Vitality 18, Muscle Strength 29, Endurance 27, Speed 28, Magic Power. The girl says that you can't watch without permission, since it's a violation of privacy, and Akira Ichijo says, in surprise, He says that anyone can see the status if there's an analysis. The girl says that this status is now like personal data, as it even includes height and weight, and explains that even the measurements are written down, but she says she wouldn't be happy if someone were to peek at it without. Akira Ichijo says he hasn't seen these points and asks if this is true. The girl explains that although there is currently no way to protect oneself from peeping, one must be careful, otherwise the situation will get even worse. Akira Ichijo asks about the bull, and the girl says that it is enough that The girl reports that the evening he defeated the Minotaur, he was immediately posted on social media. He says, "Look." Akira Ichijo says the bull looks perfect on camera. The man apologizes for analyzing the girl without asking and calls the nickname something. He says, The girl asks why he doesn't like her if he's a bull and explains that it sounds cool to her. He says it doesn't matter and suggests they get back to the conversation. The girl says she wants to tell you what skills she's acquired. She explains that her skills are body strengthening, magic scheme, and entry-level magic. Akira Ichijo asks about entry-level magic. The owner of the entry-level magic skill masters the shock arrow. The damage of entry-level magic varies depending on the magic value, and the amount of entry-level magic mastered depends on the skill level. Akira Ichijo says he suddenly thought the girl would definitely be a musclehead. The girl replies he's joking and explains that she understands her body type isn't suitable, but given the choice, she thinks she could handle magic. He says hi. The girl asks what the expression on his face is. Akira Ichijo says that the consumption of magical power likely decreases as it activates. The girl explains that when the magic is activated, her body burns inside and soon becomes tired, as if she's running at full force. The girl explains that elementary level magic is activated by depleting physical strength, while he uses it by expending magical power. He reports that it feels like he's rushing with all his might. Akira Ichijo explains that he's grasped the big picture and suggests they conduct a battle this way. He'll go ahead, and the girl will cover him from behind. The girl asks if he's sure his body is alright. He says that thanks to automatic regeneration, it's getting easier and easier, and he's confident that he'll be able to move tomorrow. The man says he'll rest for now, and then he'll be able to move too, and he thanks him. A girl says goodnight to Akira Ichijo. Akira Ichijo looks at the girl. He says goodnight in return. The image shows a building against a starry night sky. No text. The global reversal rate is 3.01%. Akira Ichijo explains that the structure is called the pyramid. He explains that it is made of 2,000 chairs, which were assembled over the course of 2 days. The girl says she breathes a sigh of relief. The man says there's a lot of trash here and he can't get through. Akira Ichijo asks the girl if she can't sleep. The man says he's not particularly thrilled about being alone outside the hospital, even if it's right in front of the main entrance. The girl explains that she wanted to get some fresh air. The man explains that monsters are only active at night and asks if the girl is on patrol. The man asks how Ichisayo-san is doing. The girl tells him he always puts himself second and thinks he'll be ready tomorrow. The man replies that's how it is and tells Nao-san how things really are. The girl says that Akira Ichijo likes her and asks if that's true. The girl expresses surprise. The girl says their fatal connection dates back to high school and that she liked him. He explains that he just thought they were pretty close. The girl says that, besides, Ichijo-san is completely. The girl says that something unexpected is happening. The girl says she can't believe Akira Ichijo actually came. He reports that killing the boss is the priority at the moment. Akira Ichijo says he's okay now and he's not alone anymore. He hears the sound of a bell. The girl says that there is a man who wants to fight her and that she will never be alone again. It is reported that the script is progressing with you. Nanaze Nao's death has been confirmed, and the special skill, Resurrection, has been used. Akira Ichijo says he doesn't understand what's going on. He says he can't believe it happened. Akira Ichijo explains what happened and asks about Nao-san's death. He says he doesn't understand how to breathe and makes an ah sound. Akira Ichijo announces that he is losing consciousness and asks what happened to Nao-san, then announces that more is to come. The guy says what happened and what's here. Akira Ichijo says he's okay. He announces that Resurrection has been activated. He then explains that the screen appeared due to Nanai Nao's death and confirms the existence of the special skill, Resurrection. The woman says, then why is she here? Akira Ichijo says that after his death, he wasn't supposed to return that evening. He says that the initial resurrection point has been changed and asks why this is happening now, and also connects it with the fact that he defeated the boss, the Minotaur. Akira Ichijo says he promised himself not to let Nao-san die, and expresses despair over how things turned out. The man asks how this happened. The girl screams for Ichijo. He says, how-san. He says that thank God she survived, and the girl explains that, on the contrary, she died. Akira Ichijo asks what happened. The girl explains that she wanted to get some fresh air and went out to stand at the main entrance. Then Akira Ichijo came up and they talked for a bit, after which the girl says that it seems like a monster attacked her then. He says he wants to know what kind of monster it was that attacked his interlocutor. The girl says that, unfortunately, it all happened in an instant. She explains that she remembers it as something like an animal, terrifyingly large and black, and adds only, Akira Ichijo remains silent. The woman reports that after this, she discovered that the situation at the main entrance was the same as it was just before Akira Ichijo's awakening, and explains that she was resurrected after that death. Akira Ichijo explains that the situation is not ideal, as there's a high chance the monster will attack again tonight. The girl apologizes for her death, causing Akira Ichijo to revert back to his previous state. He says he asks her not to blame himself for this, since now that the resurrection point has changed, the situation is different. The girl remains silent. He explains that sooner or later he would have had to return to this state anyway. The boy says he's not sure why the starting point changed and suggests they just prioritize preparing for the monster's attack for now. The man says, fine, he'll tell Karuba-san and the others about it. Akira Ichijo reports that this script is far more painful than he expected. and explains that if one dies, the resurrection will activate and the second will share the same fate. The man says this restart plays a significant role in his poor condition. The girl says she's unsure if he'll be able to protect Nao-san under these circumstances. Akira Ichijo says that he won't whine and is confident that he will protect her no matter what, and also says that he doesn't want to see her like this anymore. The girl asks Ichidze how he's doing. Ichidze says he's feeling much better, even though he still hurts everywhere. Akira Ichijo says he thinks he'll have recovered somewhat before the monster attacks in a few hours. He then says he'll go for a little walk to stretch his legs and asks Nao-san to wait here, to which Nao-san replies, okay. He says he's confused and starts by saying, that's so. Akira Ichijo says the elevators apparently aren't working anymore. He says that if he comes to such huge hospitals, he will get lost, and that there is still time before those creatures come. The guy says that for now you need to remember everything. The man reports that monsters have infiltrated, breathing heavily and saying, ha, ha. Akira Ichijo asks what's going on and expresses concern, and the man replies, eh. He says they need monsters, or someone who can fight. The man says they met them in the lobby right outside the main entrance, and explains that before they knew it, they were besieged by black wolves. Akira Ichijo reports that the self-defense forces are currently fighting the black wolves, but there are many opponents, and explains that these are the same black wolves, one of which attacked Nao-san. He says there should still be a few hours before the attack, and asks how this happened. He explains that maybe because they notified Karube-san and the others, their plan of action and the actions of those creatures changed. The man says he understands and is going there right now. It is reported that, whatever happens, we need to hurry. The man says he can't take it anymore. The man says that Commander Karube is no longer useful and tells him to push and hold on. A soldier reports that the barricade has been breached, and another soldier shouts for them to stay away. A wolf attacks a man, clinging to his face and holding a weapon in its mouth. The man makes a sound. A man screams while attacking a wolf with a machine gun in his hands. The man says that it is not a man, but a monster, and explains that he cannot understand what kind of creature it is. The man says they are still coping and haven't given up, despite the critical moment, and calls on everyone to line up. In the top panel, several wolves attack people, who try to defend themselves and fall to the ground. In the lower right, a man screams in pain as the wolves bite him. In the lower center, another man says, guys. In the lower left, a man tries to fight off a wolf and says, no. The guy says that they are overwhelming in both numbers and level. In this situation, there is no chance of victory, and Akira Ichijo says that it is useless, they cannot cope. The man says that even so. The man says he won't let them pass, and explains that at least he'll buy time for the remaining people. Akira Ichijo reveals that these aren't just dogs, but demons that feed on fear and pain. He explains that if they aren't eliminated, they will consume everything around them and turn the world into hell. He explains that if he can't win, he will die, and warns that he has no intention of giving up. The man says that he has no intention of giving up and that he will die too. He kicks, knocking away 3 dogs. The soldier apologizes to Akira Ichijo for being late, and Akira Ichijo asks him to now entrust the situation to him. The man says that Ichijo-san took out those black wolves with just 1 kick. Akira Ichijo and the man notice something, and the man expresses surprise. The man says that Akira Ichijo is the leader and strong, however. He says it's good for a warm-up. A girl runs down the hallway, saying she's breathing heavily. Then she notices something and expresses surprise. Akira Ichijo says to Karube-san. The woman asks if the man is okay, who says it's dangerous to go any further, and calls him Nana-san. He explains that Itid is currently fighting there. Akira Ichijo kicks the 3-headed beast. The beast roars. Akira Ichijo runs towards the beast, shattering the floor beneath his feet. 2 soldiers report that there is a fierce attack, and something needs to be done before he is killed. He reacts to what is happening. The scene depicts a 3-headed dog that rushes forward with force, breaking rocks and earth. The guy says that the soldier says he's dead, and that's the end, and the other soldier says no. The girl and the soldier react with surprise and say something like, Akira Ichijo says he has no objections to the stamina value, as it changes as the body strengthens. Akira Ichijo explains that muscular strength remains to be tested. Akira Ichijo says he defended himself with 1 hand. Akira Ichijo reports that. He says that the one who killed Nao-san last time was him. Akira Ichijo says it's time to die now. He delivers a powerful blow to the 3-headed monster. Akira Ichijo says it was the strongest beast he had ever faced and explains that he couldn't let it leave alive. A guy says he actually managed to take on that thing. Another guy says it's cool, and a third guy says, wow. The girl says Ichijo's name. The soldiers order the remaining creatures to be killed, urge them to act, and agree to it. Akira Ichijo says he can't understand why this is happening and that he can't believe it. The girl expresses surprise. The sound of dripping liquid is repeated twice. Akira Ichijo says it's their turn now. He explains that things are bad, the wounds were worse than he thought, and calls the enemy a tough one. At this point, 2 wolves growl. He stands before the attacking wolves. The girl and 2 soldiers look at what is happening with surprise. He reacts to the situation. Akira Ichijo says he feels a hair-raising, oppressive atmosphere, just like he did with the Minotaur. He explains that he thinks he's realized it wasn't the leader, but nothing more than a small fry. Akira Ichijo reveals that there's someone who's subjugating them. He reports that there is a boss monster. Akira Ichijo says that if he comes, he won't have a chance of winning with such injuries, and asks what to do. He then explains that in this situation, he reports that the fight has stopped and asks what happened. The man explains that the devils got scared and ran away. Akira Ichijo reports that they took the food and asks if the howl was assigned to return, and then says that they will come for their souls whenever they want. A man reports that an explosion has occurred in the building and it is now in a state of disrepair, so entry is strictly prohibited. The man explains that everyone must evacuate the premises and observe safety precautions. The man explains that several people were injured in the explosion and an investigation into the cause is currently underway. 7 members of the self-defense forces were reported killed in the battle. They say that if you count the people who are capable of fighting, it comes out to less than half, and their average level is about 18. They say that you need to kill the monsters raiding the hospital as quickly as possible, kill everyone. Akira Ichijo explains that the only saving grace is that their strength hasn't changed much, even though their reversal rate has increased, and asks if an increase in percentage doesn't always mean an increase in strength. Akira Ichijo reports their level, vitality, muscle strength, endurance, and speed. The girl asks if this is the boss. He explains that these aren't just small fry, there's also the boss. Akira Ichijo explains that the enemies may have been planning to attack the hospital from the start, and advises them to act as similarly as possible next time, so as not to change the enemy's course of action. The girl asks why they attacked so early. The girl says she realized that the most important thing now is the condition of her fist, and asks how he feels. He says everything is fine, and he has automatic regeneration. Akira Ichijo says that in the future it will be difficult to fight with only punches, and that he would like to have some stronger weapons. He says that the man is Nao-san. He notices a hooded man sitting next to the body on the floor and asks who it is. The hooded man reacts to the sound and pays attention to what's happening. Akira Ichijo explains that materials in games are typically used to craft weapons and armor, so perhaps that's their purpose. He explains that she seems to be gathering materials for monsters using the autopsy skill. The man asks if this concerns Kashiwabu-san. The girl speaks to Akira Ichijo, addressing him by name. He turns around. Akira Ichijo apologizes and asks if he understood correctly that it was Kashiwabu-san in front of him. Then Akira Ichijo suddenly collides with someone and exclaims. The girl says she was scared. Akira Ichijo says it can't be a child and asks if the girl is okay. The girl replies that the guy is a bull and is surprised. The woman apologizes to Akira Ichijo and asks if he has any business with her. He explains that he's not collecting materials. He then says he'd like to know if the woman can make a weapon for him. Akira Ichijo says that this girl sometimes gets lost in her thoughts and agrees. The girl remains silent. Akira Ichijo asks in surprise, and the girl remains silent again. The girl explains that she doesn't have the crafting skill yet and apologizes. Akira Ichijo replies that he says it's strange because your name is Bull, and the girl asks if you use that axe. Akira Ichijo says he completely forgot about the axe and says that with the Minotaur axe he should be able to withstand even the strengthened boss. The man says he thinks he's still in that place and explains that his digital reading is also very high. He asks what a digital reading is. The girl says that weapons also have a status and offers to tell about the status of that axe. Akira Ichijo says the axe's status is a Minotaur. He says that if you use the examination skill, you can find out the numerical value of any weapon. Akira Ichijo asks what the axe's value is. It explains, for example, that the pistols used by the self-defense forces have a +2 damage bonus. The girl says that this information about the expertise skill is not the most accurate, but it provides data on the fierce bowl cleaver, weapon recommendation, muscle strength value 80+, striking power +75, durability value 37, weapon effect, and detailed information cannot be displayed due to insufficient level. Akira Ichijo explains that his striking power is 75, and this will be added to his current muscular strength, which is 165, which is quite a significant boost. He also states that the weapon recommendation is fine, so it's worth bringing an axe. He thanks the girl for her help and says that she really helped him out. The girl replies that you're welcome. Akira Ichijo says that if he obtains any weapons, the girl will be able to evaluate them again using the expertise skill. The girl says she doesn't have this skill, and Akira Ichijo responds with surprise. The girl says that one person from the self-defense forces has it, and she accidentally heard about it, but this person has already died. He says that's how it is, but the girl says she plans to eventually acquire a skill related to production, and if she's useful then, she'll be able to offer a discount. The man asks if she charges. Akira Ichijo says that people who don't want to fight can dedicate themselves to crafting. He says, okay, let the other one not go overboard, and the other one says fine. He says that if Koshiwaba-san creates and improves weapons and armor, it will significantly increase combat effectiveness. Akira Ichijo says it's Nao-san. The woman asks if he has managed to become friends with Kashiwaba-san, and says that this means he can afford to court a girl even at such a time. He explains that this is not so, he only asked her about the weapon, and also says that he is going to. Akira Ichijo says he didn't do it with any intention, and the girl says he changed the subject. He says he wanted to level up anyway, but it's better to rest for now. The leveling up could be postponed until tomorrow. The girl says she'll go too then. The girl says that he didn't say that it's better to act together if possible. Akira Ichijo says that it's clear she understood. He says he understands and offers to go together, and the girl says that it doesn't matter to him, she can level up herself, and asks if he would prefer to take Kashiwaba-san with him. Akira Ichijo says it's been 3 days since they arrived, and everything is already in ruins. The girl says they need to move with extreme caution, and Akira Ichijo confirms this. He says that in such an area and the broken power poles, there could be boa constrictors, and there are also traces of wild boars raging here, meaning monsters that could still be around somewhere. The girl asks Nao-san to step back. Akira Ichijo tells Nao that she's getting too close to the konbini and asks what would happen if someone suddenly attacked from a blind spot. Nao replies that he's being too cautious. He explains that there are many monsters in the city that are higher in level than him, so you need to be vigilant, and adds that in addition, the girl says that a pistol alone won't kill the monster. Akira Ichijo explains that it's easier to talk about it if he has a weapon of that type, so he can then determine the direction in which he wants to use his magic. He adds that Karube-san was reluctant to entrust him with his weapon, after which the girl. He tells the girl not to point the gun at him and notes that she's unexpectedly childish. The girl comments that firing magic from a gun sounds cool. The girl says the weapon is powerful, and someone could have taken the Minotaur's axe, but she asks if Akira Ichijo is sure the axe is still there. Akira Ichijo explains that he thinks the likelihood of this is low, since the soldiers couldn't hold onto the axe. An overturned car stands on a destroyed road with smoke rising from it. Akira Ichijo says that's exactly it. He says that only. Akira Ichijo says they build nests. The girl replies that they do. He asks if it's a rock. He explains that, as far as he knows, it sprays a sticky liquid from its mouth to dull the enemy's movements. He then explains that it's difficult to hit because it flies constantly, and even if you do hit it, its skin is so tough that he'd rather. The girl says it will be difficult for Ichijo to deal with such an opponent. Akira Ichijo explains that in that case, he will somehow manage on his own, and asks the girl to hide and sit quietly. He says he'll pick it up and come back quickly. Akira Ichijo runs along a destroyed road. He says that we need to take the axe before they do. He reports that they have already noticed him. Akira Ichijo reports that he can't move and asks why. It stands immersed in liquid or mucus, making a diving sound. The bird screams, and Akira Ichijo reports that he's been trapped. He explains that he rushed and didn't expect the enemy to already be spraying vomit, using the axe as bait. The birds attack, he utters a swear word, then yells at Ichijo to lie down on the ground. Akira Ichijo says Nao is heading to certain death, and asks what she's doing. Nao explains that she can fight too, and asks him not to underestimate her. The boy exclaims Nao's name. Nao falls to her knees. He says it's a striking arrow. The man asks who isn't his opponent. The girl says she wants to know how Akira Ichijo feels about this. He says he takes back his words and entrusts the birds to him. The man is silent and looks forward. Akira Ichijo reports that these creatures' stamina is quite high and asks what to do about it. He then takes up a large weapon and prepares to attack. He says, "Wow," and informs that this is what we need. Akira Ichijo announces that he is the Fierce Ox Cleaver, and he has a muscle strength of 155 plus 75 UP. The man asks Ichijo how he's doing, to which he replies that he's doing great. Akira Ichijo explains that he'll wear his enemies down to the point of exhaustion. He says that he didn't think that the day would ever actually come when he would fight alongside Naosan, and back then he thought that everything was going well. Loud thuds are heard on the ruined street. The text informs the two heroes that a serious and major change is approaching. Akira Ichijo reports that he is nearby. He asks if that was the last time and says that it apparently was. The girl asks now what her level is now and now replies that she's level 23, which has risen quite a bit. Akira Ichijo reports that they are doing well and are still raising their levels, especially for Naosan, who needs to raise her level as much as possible to withstand the Black Wolves. The girl says that they are the only ones attacking now, and they are more than ferocious. He reports that they have definitely killed more than 20. Akira Ichijo explains that they are actively attacking them due to the effects of the trophy he received, which is hostility from the wolf race, and reports that he also received the Wolf Slayer, and with it, hostility increased by 40. He says that if you think about the fact that they want to raise the level, it's even good. The girl says that then soon. A man asks Akira Ichijo how she's feeling, and Akira Ichijo says she's fine. The man tells her that she used too much vitality due to magic and suggests they take a break over there. The girl explains that she is amazed by this sharp axe, for which black wolves were like butter. He reports that he himself was surprised when he used it. Akira Ichijo explains that this is a completely different weapon power than the one in the previous reality, and calls the Minotaur axe incredible. He says that if he fully upgrades the weapon, he can safely take on the boss. The girl warns him that spinning it is dangerous and calls him a fool. He explains that if he dies, he'll have to go back for the weapon again, and that's tiring. The girl says it's an inventory item. Akira Ichijo says that if he puts the axe in his inventory, he'll be able to use it even after he's resurrected. The girl explains that he's so excited and that it looks like a child. He says that he is already fine and offers to continue leveling up, and the girl says that it would be better if she rested some more. Akira Ichijo says he hears laughter. The girl says that everything is fine and that it needs to be done quickly. Akira Ichijo and the girl hear screams. The guy says that it seems like monsters have attacked someone there and offers to go help. He says that he himself would not leave the person to die. The guy says that helping without knowing the situation is dangerous and reminds her to remember to be vigilant. The girl says that it's good. The image does not contain text or speech from characters, but shows the night sky and buildings. Akira Ichijo reports that it seems the voice was heard from here. He swings a bat at a man who screams. Akira Ichijo says he's scared and asks if the other man is okay, and the other man says he doesn't understand what's going on. He says, "You're in the way," and the man says that he's kind of running here. Akira Ichijo looks at the running boy and says that it was probably him who was screaming, and then calls him by name. The girl says to look, he says with. The girl says it's dark and dangerous here, and suggests they go back. Akira Ichijo tells them to go through this alley because that's where the right place is. The scene depicts a group of various creatures, including giant insects, wolf-like creatures, and other monsters, moving rapidly forward down a narrow alley. No one speaks. The girl reports that there is a crowd, and Akira Ichijo calls Naosan here. He shouts, "Howl-san." The girl says she can't get up. Akira Ichijo reports that hostile creatures are rapidly attacking and explains that they have broken through the barrier. He shouts at Naosan, raising his hand and running towards her, and now looks scared. Akira Ichijo says he's in a hurry. The girl looks away. The image contains no speech bubbles or text. It depicts a massive clash between creatures, including wolf-like and humanoid figures, moving in the same direction. Akira Ichijo screams chaos. The girl reports that wolves have attacked. He screams, and the man says that this is the end. Akira Ichijo announces that the sprint skill has been activated and has 60 seconds remaining. The man screams. Akira Ichijo leaps onto the crowd of monsters. Above, on the right, he's falling from a height, surrounded by a multitude of monsters. Below, he's stretching his hand forward. Below, on the left, a girl screams, calling for Hao. Akira Ichijo says that if he can't reach his hand, he'll die. He explains that if he reaches it, he might survive. He says that this can't be true and explains that it is impossible. Akira Ichijo says that you and A. The scene depicts a man screaming. It is reported that the script is progressing with you, and the death of Nanase now is confirmed. It is reported that the special skill, Resurrection, was used. Akira Ichijo says he can't believe this happened, and explains that everything will change now. He says he can't believe it happened. Akira Ichijo says he's suffocating. You can hear the sounds of breathing ha ah ha ha ha. He says, "Now son." Akira Ichijo says this is her room. He asks how Nao-san is doing. Nao-san replies that he opens the door. Akira Ichijo says, "Stop." The man asks to be left alone now. Akira Ichijo reports that the incident left Nao-san mentally broken. The top right man says it hurts. The next man asks for someone to stop. He yells at Nanase-san and warns her to be careful. The man asks what's wrong with her. The man says it happened before Ichijo woke up. The girl explains that it was. The woman says they need to fight quickly. She explains that she's definitely dead and that the resurrection has been activated again. Akira Ichijo reveals that this isn't just a monster, but something that shouldn't have existed in this world. He explains that if it isn't stopped now, the consequences will be catastrophic. The soldier tells Nanase-san to be taken to a safe place immediately. The girl screams in fear. The girl says she's afraid. The girl says that she is. The man falls. Blood spurts out. The girl sits on the bed and trembles. A loud scream is heard, and the man says he is afraid. Akira Ichijo says he's afraid of monsters. The image contains no characters or text, only a sky with clouds and a setting sun. Akira Ichijo says he let Nao-san die again. He says that means he can't protect her. The man exclaims Nao-san's name. A major in the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force says his name is Karube and apologizes. Akira Ichijo says Karube-san was supposed to visit him that evening. The man reports that the events are repeating themselves without any inconsistencies and that there should be an attack of black wolves in the evening. He remains silent. The man asks if Akira Ichijo's strength is that he is with them, and Akira Ichijo answers with a question. He reports that this is the axe of the Minotaur they defeated. Akira Ichijo explains that he appeared there shortly before they woke up and didn't even notice that he was there because he placed him in his inventory. Then Akira Ichijo says that perhaps it's his power. He says it's too early to give up. The man asks where Ichijo is going. He says he wants to take down the boss and needs to do what needs to be done. The man informs that there will be a surprise attack by black wolves today, so you should not approach the main entrance to the lobby. There's a knock at the door. Akira Ichijo announces that the patient has died. He says he comes in and addresses Nao-san. Akira Ichijo says he's not leaving and explains he doesn't want the girl to be alone. The girl says she doesn't know what to do and asks him not to look at her like that. The girl is silent. Akira Ichijo says he regrets it, and if he had protected her, this wouldn't have happened. The girl says there is no need to apologize. He sits on the bed and listens. The girl says it's her fault, she tried to but didn't have the strength. Akira Ichijo reports that the girl also put him in danger. He says that he is cool because he has died and risen again many times, and that no matter how painful and torturous it was, he started again. The girl says that she can no longer cope when she sees monsters. She immediately remembers what happened just before her death. She's afraid of them and can no longer fight. Akira Ichijo says he can't understand why the girl is acting this way and explains that he doesn't intend to hurt her. The girl says she doesn't want him to feel sorry for her. He covers the girl with a blanket. Akira Ichijo tells Nao-san that he doesn't have to fight and that he will end everything. He says he won't let anyone die again. The other character remains silent. Akira Ichijo says that in order to remove the resurrection from him, you need to complete the script to defeat the boss together, so he only asks for help at the very end. He says that you need to relax until then. The sound of the door opening is heard by a girl sitting on the floor covered with a blanket. Akira Ichijo says it's better for him to fight himself. He explains that he's always done that before and doesn't want Nao-san to suffer anymore. The man explains that the mass of monsters is connected to what caused the black wolves to attack the hospital. He reports the possible appearance of a boss monster in the city that controls black wolves and explains that this has caused the surrounding monsters to flee, leading to such a cluster. Akira Ichijo says we need to confirm this further. He says, "Huh?" The man warns that monsters will come here, so we need to leave. The text block says there are still people in the lobby. The guy with the cigarette says he doesn't understand what's going on. The man with the cigarette says they need to get ready for a fight. The guy asks who it is. The man explains that a pack of black wolves will appear in a few minutes, so it's best to leave before they get killed. The man says it's the ill-fated bastard Karube-san was praising. Akira Ichijo is silent. The man asks what kind of look that is. The man says he doesn't like him and remarks that someone has angered Makimoto-san. He reports that the weakling is telling him what to do. A man says something like this can't upset him, holding Akira Ichijo by the collar. The guy expresses surprise and amazement. Akira Ichijo stands before an attacking wolf, a man screaming in pain. The man screams as he falls to the ground. Akira Ichijo stands next to him and looks at him. The man lets out a pained sound, and Akira Ichijo stands before him. He says that if they don't want to die, they should leave. The man says he can't breathe. The soldiers report that they remain vigilant, and that if the monsters break through, they will survive. One of the soldiers explains that the battle between a man and a monster is impressive, and that there is apparently nothing to worry about. Another soldier says that this is the battle of a man who is able to defeat a boss monster. Akira Ichijo reports that the Satoga himself. The wolf tells them to run faster and says that he deliberately left Akira Ichijo alive. Akira Ichijo reports that he can't afford to relax because the monster is still alive. He says to take him to yours. The street is empty and destroyed. The wind rustles between abandoned buildings. The station shows the boss's lair. The text states that the smell of blood fills Wolf's trap. Akira Ichijo reports that this is their lair and asks if they are going further. He enters the room. He notices the body of a man lying on the floor in a pool of blood. He reports that the man is dead. Akira Ichijo reports that the body count has increased and that this ominous feeling is similar to what happened with the Minotaur. He asks if it's even lower. He notices a fleeing wolf and expresses surprise. Wind sounds can be heard at the metro station. The top panel shows a single dog walking down a hallway. The bottom panel shows several dogs gathered together in the hallway. The scene depicts a pack of wolves standing in a corridor and growling. Akira Ichijo says he won't be able to survive long without an axe, and that's the most important thing. The men report a large number of dogs coming up the stairs. The text says that this is an ominous pressure. A man makes loud movement sounds. Akira Ichijo curses without saying anything else. Akira Ichijo suddenly peeks out from around the corner. The image shows a boss, a level 93 werewolf with the following stats: Vitality 237, Muscle Strength 213, Endurance 254, Speed 412, Magic Power 70, and Luck 51. It is reported that information about the individual and available skills cannot be displayed due to insufficient. It is reported that the indicators due to the increase in the turning coefficient are not comparable to the Minotaur, and now, even with a cleaver, the ferocious bull will surely be killed. Akira Ichijo says he's learned enough and needs to retreat for now. He laughs, repeating the laugh. Akira Ichijo sits down on the ground, breathing heavily and making a thumping sound. Then he walks down the street, laughing and saying he's laughing. He says it will take time to level up, but there's no other way but to reach a level where he can fight the enemy. He then explains that he could level up faster if a monster quest were available, but he doesn't know the conditions for it. Akira Ichijo says, "Who is this, a goblin?" The man is rummaging through a dumpster. He says it might be. He explains that the only quests he completed were with goblins and a minotaur, but no more quests with enemies, even if they killed him at a lower level, have arisen. Akira Ichijo says that a quest may appear when he is killed by an enemy of his rank or higher. He reports that, as far as he remembers, there should be an orc in the neighboring city. Akira Ichijo says his theory needs to be tested. He says he can't believe it happened. He then explains that now they need to deal with the aftermath of what happened. Akira Ichijo makes the sounds smack and splash, as well as squeak and scrape. The man announces that here he is. The man is silent, making smack smack and splash splash sounds. He says, analysis. The orc's description states that it is level 59, has 131 vitality, 57 muscular strength, 74 stamina, 407 speed, 50 magical power, and 40 luck. It also states that information about the individual and available skills cannot be displayed due to insufficient level. Akira Ichijo says that the stats are about the same as his, and now he needs to be killed, then the quest can open. He says he's hungry, and the creature tells him there's fresh prey right here. The monster says, "Come here, piglet." Akira Ichijo announces that he has no intention of fighting this monster. The scene depicts a swift blow or attack, accompanied by sound effects. The creature's head is visible, with pointed ears and an open mouth expressing rage or pain. Akira Ichijo says he's not going to give up and will continue fighting despite his wounds. The demon is surprised and doesn't understand why Akira isn't afraid of the pain and doesn't retreat. He says that this is not enough. The orc says to give it all he has. The image shows the moment of a powerful impact or fall, accompanied by a strong explosion or destruction. Akira Ichijo says that he put himself in a difficult position, and also explains that because he has so much body strengthening, it is not easy to die. He reports that now this moment is even more hellish. The ogre is breathing heavily. Akira Ichijo announces that he is tired and is going to fight. He says it hurts. He has died many times in painful and terrible ways, however. The man says that he'd rather have it than have it happen to Nao-san. Akira Ichijo says he will die as long as it takes. It is reported that progress with Akira Ichijo continues. Ichijo Akira's death is confirmed, and the special skill, Resurrection, was used. Akira Ichijo says that a quest has appeared, and reports that a D-class quest has appeared with the condition of defeating orcs. The number of goblins defeated is 0 out of 50. He says then, Akira Ichijo says it's time to level up. A message appears stating that the D-class quest, Orcs Defeated, the number of goblins defeated is 50 out of 50, has been completed, and a reward of 30 points for completing the D-class quest, Goblin, has been issued. Akira Ichijo says the quest is complete, laughs, and sighs. He explains that the reward for completing the game and the points earned for leveling up add up to 47 points, enough for accumulation. He also reports that at some point, the magic power meter was restored. The guy says that first you need to level up that skill, and at the same time, Akira Ichijo says that you need to choose which skill to take. A message appears about acquiring the automatic regeneration skill level 2. Akira Ichijo says it's tough to feel the damage from fighting the Minotaur every time he returns from death, and that he spent a whopping 30 points, but it can't be helped. He says he has 17 points left and it's better to distribute them among his abilities or acquire a new skill for the fight. He says that if you use them for sprinting, you can overcome the speed of a wolf, but the problem is that it won't be decisive. You need a skill that will come in handy. Titanic Strength Level 1 is reported to cost 15 points and is an active skill that consumes the user's magic power and increases their muscle strength for 1 minute, with the increased value being fixed by the magic power value in the status after consumption multiplied by 10. Akira Ichijo says that Titanic Strength is an increase in muscular strength, that is, a version of sprinting, only with muscular strength, and if he has this skill, he will be able to surpass the stamina of a werewolf. He says that, thinking back, he's sure that when he saw this skill before, it cost 10 points to acquire, and asks why the price has increased. He explains that maybe if he acquires a skill that changes his status based on his magic power consumption, he'll spend more points. Akira Ichijo says that all that remains is to analyze the werewolf's attack pattern and die at its hands, thereby opening the quest. He says that one more effort is needed. Akira Ichijo reports that his preparations are almost complete and the rest is up to Nao-san. Ichijo Akira's death has been confirmed. Akira Ichijo says there's no problem and unclenches his fist. He then stretches while sitting on the bed. He reports that the pain is completely gone and the increase in automatic regeneration was worth it. Then he says that you can go. Akira Ichijo turns to Karube-san, asking if he can move yet, and informs him that he was just on his way to join them. Karube-san asks where Akira is headed, and he replies that there's no time to explain further and only promises one thing. He says that he will definitely defeat the boss. The man reacts with an exclamation. The man says that it means, "See you again," and shouts to Akira Ichijo. Akira Ichijo announces that he is opening the door for Nao-san. Nao-san replies, "Oh." He says his name. The girl says she's finished with her preparations and suggests going outside. She remains silent. Akira Ichijo says everything is fine and there's no need to fight. The woman says that's impossible for her and she can't fight monsters anymore. He informs you that the boss you'll be fighting is a werewolf, a wolf that stands on 2 legs, and that he will be your main opponent, but asks you to attack him with magic once during the fight. He explains that after he kills the wolf, the conditions for... The girl says she needs to attack. The guy says you can only use magic once. He has wolves under his command, but there are no monsters nearby because he sent them hunting. The man says you can use magic once and then hide somewhere while he finishes what he started. The girl says that they will go outside one more time, and Akira Ichijo says that he will not let her die under any circumstances. The girl says she understands and thinks that if she does it just once, she will succeed. He thanks her. Akira Ichijo declares that he won't give up, even if it costs him his life. Then Akira Ichijo and the girl walk down the street, he carrying a broken chair. There are large ants moving on the street. Giant spiders appear on the building and begin to weave webs. Akira Ichijo reports that monsters are still roaming here. He says he can't let the girl behave like this and explains that if she can't cope with it, he won't be able to help her. The girl says she understands and promises to try. Akira Ichijo asks if they took a different route, and the girl asks them to do so. The text says the route may be longer, but they should avoid encountering monsters if possible. He says they should go to the side where the door is and explains that they can find a way out there. The girl says she can't believe it and that it's too good to be true. The woman says it's not a spider, but a monster that feeds on fear and can take the form of a spider. She explains that if it's not defeated, it will grow and consume the entire city. The spider says there's no way. The girl says she needs to tell Ichijo quickly. The girl says she can hear her voice. A girl screams as a huge spider attacks her. Then she closes her eyes and begins to crumble into dust. The girl says now is fine. Akira Ichijo confirms that everything is fine, says he will protect her at any moment, and encourages her to look forward. The man says, let's continue. The girl and he are holding hands. He says that they are together. The girl says it's Ichijo. The girl says she will try, and Akira Ichijo thanks her. He says that's good. He says that if he fails to kill the boss this time, Nao-san will probably never recover. It is reported that death cannot be allowed. Akira Ichijo explains that he's fought the werewolf many times and has calculated how to defeat it. He explains that if he calms down as much as possible, he should be able to handle it. The right panel shows the building's ruined entrance. The left panel says they're heading this way, and the text says failure is unacceptable. Akira Ichijo informs that he will definitely defeat him. He reports that there is a premonition of death in the underground train station and wonders about the fate of Akira and Naro. Akira Ichijo says he already told me, but he'll remind me again about the condition for completing the script. He remains silent. The girl with the gun says she remembers. She also needs to carry out a successful attack, and when he defeats the enemy, the script will be executed. She asks him not to worry, assuring him that she can handle it. In a few hours, his pack will attack the hospital. We need to deal with him before then. Akira Ichijo says he can't afford to be weak, because weakness means death. He tells Nao-san to get ready, and Nao-san asks if he is really here. A quest has appeared with the task of defeating the monster that struck the girl last time. This is a Class C quest with a werewolf as the attacker. The completion condition is the defeat of the werewolf. The number of werewolves defeated is 0 out of 1. The girl reports that it is him. The image contains no text or speech. It shows a creature with sharp claws and glowing eyes peering around the corner. Akira Ichijo says that fighting this. The girl tells Ichijo that he is going to defeat a monster, and he asks if it is the same monster. The woman says it is impossible for them to overcome such a thing. Akira Ichijo says it's not a wolf but a mutant, and explains that he can't kill it because it's his friend. The girl says he can't say that and says they need to kill the mutant. He protects the girl from an attack by destroying the wall. He asks if she's okay. The girl remains silent and explains that everything happened so quickly that she didn't see anything and can't imagine how to cope with the attack. A viciously growling monster is depicted at the bottom right. Akira Ichijo says this place is the entrance to a dungeon and warns that it's very dangerous. The girl advises them to be careful and prepared for any unexpected events. The right panel depicts a beast emitting a loud roar. The left panel indicates that the sprint skill has been activated and has 60 seconds remaining. Akira Ichijo deflects the monstrous wolf's attack with a powerful kick. He then grabs his weapon and prepares for his next move. The wolf growls, revealing a jaw full of sharp teeth. He strikes the monster. At this time, the girl and he say that now. The boy tries to fight the monster, and the girl says she's in shock. The monster suddenly looks forward. Then a gun falls to the floor, and the girl reacts with fear. Akira Ichijo fends off a massive wolf's furious attack. The wolf destroys the wall, knocking out large chunks. A girl kneels and watches the destruction. The girl reports that there is no way. The woman says she can't, and makes the ooh sound. Akira Ichijo says he can't fight. It deals a powerful blow to the enemy, causing destruction around it. Akira Ichijo says, Gage, then states that with Nao-san's current state, there's nothing left to do but stop the script, and explains that the best option now is to find and defeat another boss. He says that, for now, Akira Ichijo announces that he will kill one. He uses Titan power, and the skill lasts for 60 seconds. He delivers a powerful blow with his weapon to the monster, tearing its body apart and causing destruction around it. A powerful explosion occurs at the station, destroying part of the platform and walls, sending debris flying in all directions. The blast wave spreads along the tracks, causing further damage. Akira Ichijo says that he will finish off the enemy here and jumps with his weapon raised onto the monster standing on the rails. He screams a call to die, simultaneously raising his weapon to strike. The creature makes a sound. He looks ahead tensely and prepares to attack. Increased liveliness communicates the creature. Akira Ichijo reports an increase in liveliness. Akira Ichijo says that. The monster reports that this is an associated attack. Akira Ichijo screams as he tries to fight off the long arm that reaches towards him through the crumbling structures. He jumps away from an explosion on the train tracks. The image shows a powerful explosion or impact that destroys walls and causes rocks and debris to fly. Akira Ichijo explains what happened and laughs. He laughs again, sitting amid the destruction. He says his speed has changed and asks why. He tells me the boss is a werewolf, level 93, with the following stats: Vitality 237, Muscle Strength 213, Endurance 234, Speed 412, plus 100, Magic Power 70, Luck. Akira Ichijo says that no matter how many times he's fought him, this has never happened before, and makes a pained noise. He asks if those recent words really meant anything. The man asks if they can use skills too, making growling sounds. He reacts to the appearance of a monstrous creature standing on the tracks. Akira Ichijo says that he, haha, haha. The monster says that he has now switched sides and calls Nao-san. He says, wait. Akira Ichijo says he's not going anywhere. The creature warns him not to move and stay here. The image shows a creature with a wolf's head and glowing eyes growling or making a threatening sound. Akira Ichijo deflects the monster's attack using his power, creating a powerful explosion that destroys the surrounding area. He says that he can't give up and says that he will protect Nao-san. The monster says the word associated. Akira Ichijo says that an attack is coming and that they must dodge it, otherwise there will be no chance of victory. I'll put the remaining points towards magical power. Akira Ichijo says the attack should be even faster than the enemies. It's reported that a sprint skill with a remaining duration of 60 seconds and a titanic strength skill with a remaining duration of 60 seconds were used. He says it's here. Next to it is a beast-like monster with an open mouth. Akira Ichijo falls down, causing destruction and scattering of rocks. He says that a fair amount of damage has been done and that he too should be at the limit by now, and then he says that there is. The monster makes a sound, and Akira Ichijo says that one more breakthrough and the enemy will become a corpse. He attacks a huge wolf, striking with a weapon. He says that this is not just a wolf. Akira Ichijo quickly moves forward with his weapon in hand, heading towards the monster standing on the tracks. He laughs. The right panel depicts the structure collapsing, with concrete and dust falling. The left panel shows a multitude of shadowy figures rapidly moving forward, accompanied by sounds. The image depicts a creature with sharp features and long fur, making a loud sound. Behind it, several similar creatures with glowing eyes are visible, also making similar sounds. Akira Ichijo reports that Nao-san is in danger and things are bad. He says he's called his men together and laughs. He says he can't take it anymore and asks to stop. The girl says she can't take it anymore and asks him to stop. Akira Ichijo says K and asks if everything went well. He says he can't believe this happened and says he doesn't know what to do next. Woman reports three-headed dog threat looming. Akira Ichijo, weapon in hand, fights off attacking multi-headed monsters. From left to right, a man says that the decision to keep his distance so as not to drag Nao-san into it ends up having the opposite effect. Akira Ichijo says that we need to get to her quickly. The girl explains that it's Cerberus, the guardian of the underworld, who guards the entrance and prevents anyone from passing. She explains that if anyone tries to pass, Cerberus will attack and tear them to pieces. The girl says she needs to leave. The man warns her to leave. A girl screams in terror as three huge, monstrous dogs attack her with their jaws open. She shields herself with her hands and tries to escape, but is struck hard. Akira Ichijo says that if he can't win, he'll die and asks not to interfere. The girl tells him that she has no intention of interfering and that he must do everything he can. He coughs up blood in his mouth. The girl expresses surprise. Akira Ichijo strikes the monster, impaling it with his weapon. Akira Ichijo reveals Ichijo's name. He says everything is fine despite the wounds. The girl says he has wounds. The man laughs. Akira Ichijo says that things aren't that bad and that there's no reason to worry. The girl tells him to go. He says he'll finish everything and orders Nao to hide. Akira Ichijo says that there is no more and that we need to stop, and the hand on the right says more. He says he doesn't understand how he can stand in such a situation, where he gets the strength to try so hard and why he smiles even at such a moment. Akira Ichijo says he can't believe this happened and explains that he doesn't want anyone to get hurt because of him. He says, Nao-san, the man says Nanase is the boss, and the guy says Nanase-senpai. The guy asks her to stop, and the girl explains that they're just having a little fun. Akira Ichijo yells at him to get away from his senpai and calls out to Ichijo. He says he can't believe it happened and explains that he didn't mean to hurt anyone. A girl asks why Akira Ichijo would resort to fighting, and he says he's not exactly tough. In the next panel, two men stand next to a body on the ground. He says that at least the girl is okay. The girl drops to her knees, leaning her hands on the floor. Akira Ichijo lets out a cry of surprise at the sight of an approaching wolf. The wolf delivers a powerful blow, destroying the surrounding area. The girl screams at Ichijo, expressing pain and anxiety. He says that no matter how many wounds he gets, he gives his all to keep me safe. The girl says she does nothing but cry and asks what she does. The girl says that she gave her word and at the same time denies it. The girl says that Ichigo needs to be supported. The man says that in this hellish world, there's no more hesitation and he too will move. The girl says she will be with him. Akira Ichigo stands amidst the destruction, looking at a creature belching a powerful stream of fire. The creature roars, revealing sharp teeth. The image shows a creature with sharp claws and a wild appearance destroying a wall, knocking out stones and debris. Akira Ichigo speaks to Hao-san. He says everything is fine now. Akira Ichigo says they will defeat him together. The scene depicts a dynamic battle. In the upper right, a wolf-like creature growls and prepares to attack. Below, two other wolves run towards a man with a weapon who stands on the lower left and prepares for battle. Akira Ichigo yells at Nao-san, and Nao says, "Ah!" Akira Ichigo jumps from the platform onto the train tracks, swinging an axe. He says it's a shock arrow. The upper right panel shows the tunnel walls beginning to crumble and collapse. Below is the moment of a powerful explosion that destroys the tunnel's interior. The lower left panel shows wolves approaching the site of the collapse. The image does not contain speech bubbles or text. It shows a beast-like monster roaring or making a loud noise. Laughter can be heard from the top right. From the bottom right, Akira Ichigo asks if Ichigo is holding up, and Ichigo replies that he's fine, confirming with a yes. The girl says that even if they defeat him, it won't be the end. He explains that this is true. He realized that his speed increases due to the skill and decreases after using sprint. Akira Ichigo says that if this continues, they will lose sooner or later. The girl says that, in her opinion, there is only one strategy. Akira Ichigo says that he doesn't know how to defeat the enemy. The girl says that if they succeed, they can defeat them. He says that this strategy will be very risky for him and asks what it entails. The woman explains that the power of the shock arrows increases as her magic power builds up, and says that if she puts her remaining 7 points into magic and uses maximum firepower, then Akira Ichigo reports that he has about 3 minutes left, but he won't be able to move until he accumulates points and uses them. He then asks how much longer until he reaches maximum firepower. The man explains that he thinks it might actually work. He says that they'll have to fight the werewolf within Nao-san's shooting range. He then says that he understands and suggests using this strategy to attract these creatures. Akira Ichigo says that one in such an exhausted state will definitely not be able to cope with the pack, including a werewolf, and warns that until magical power accumulates, one can die. He says that he trusts, and therefore asks you to trust him too. Akira Ichigo tells you to trust him. The girl says, it's Ichigo. The right panel shows an area littered with rocks. The left panel depicts the moment of the explosion, when rocks fly in all directions. The image shows a creature with brightly glowing eyes and a bestial appearance roaring or preparing to attack. Akira Ichigo states that he cannot afford to lose. He says he can't afford to die here. Akira Ichigo explains that the building he's in has many windows, and he can choose any one to exit. He explains that if he falls from a height, he could be seriously injured, but there's no other way out. He says that he is not going to fight them. The monster says it's time to finish. Akira Ichigo looks at him silently. On the upper right is a beast roaring and releasing a stream of liquid or mucus from its mouth. On the lower right is another beast with an open mouth roaring and releasing a stream of liquid or mucus. On the lower left is a creature with sharp features and long hair standing next to a roar. A man falls to the ground next to railroad tracks, with debris and dust flying around. Akira Ichigo states that he cannot allow them to get close, and explains that if they touch him, he will die. The image has no text or speech, but shows a scene with many animals jumping and flying in different directions from an explosion or powerful impact. Akira Ichigo reports that there is 1.5 minutes left before Nao-san's shock arrow firepower reaches its maximum. He says he will endure it no matter what. Akira Ichigo says that if he can't get past these wolves, he'll die here. He explains that wolves aren't just animals, but monsters that guard the territory. He says that if he can't handle this, he'll die. He explains that he can't afford to die here. The image contains no speech bubbles or text. A man dressed as a wolf makes a swift leap or attack. Akira Ichigo says something strange is going on. He says that if he can't get out of here, he will die. He explains that he can't allow himself to die because he has a goal that he must fulfill. Akira Ichigo talks about increasing liveliness. He says he's giving up his entire pack. The man remains silent. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful punch, causing a large explosion and flying debris. He explains that if he can't win, he will die, and says that he has no intention of giving up. The girl screams, Ichijo. Akira Ichijo says that if he shoots now to turn the werewolf, the magical power will not be enough, and says that Ichijo will die like that. The girl says that all the efforts that have been made up to this point, Ichijo's efforts, will be in vain, and then says, no, no. Akira Ichijo tells Nao-san to trust him. Nao-san says this with a smile. The girl cries. He delivers a powerful punch. The wolf growls and prepares to attack. He and the wolf clash in a furious fight, causing an explosion and flying debris. Akira Ichijo screams. Akira Ichijo lets out a loud scream. The right panel depicts a powerful explosion, accompanied by the sounds of destruction. In the left panel, he is thrown back by the force of the impact. Akira Ichijo screams in terror as he is attacked by a massive beast with sharp teeth and claws. The beast roars and lunges at Akira, who tries to defend himself. He says their attack is not over yet. Akira Ichijo reveals that this isn't just a beast, but a creature that shouldn't exist. He explains that it was created through experiments and now poses a threat to everyone. He says that he entrusts the rest to Nao-san. Nao reports that he understands. The girl says that she will do it. The girl says this is the end. The image contains no text or speech, but shows 2 frames of a roaring beast. A glowing vortex appears between buildings on the street, accompanied by the sound of wind. The girl says that if she can't kill him, he will kill her. Akira Ichijo says haha and haha. Akira Ichijo lies on the ground with his clothes in tatters. He says he knew his boss was like that and calls it cool. It is reported that the C-class quest, Werewolf, has been defeated. The number of victims is 1 of 1, and a reward has been issued. It is reported that 50 points have been awarded for completing the C-class quest, Werewolf. It is reported that the boss monster has been subdued, and the speed has been increased. Akira Ichijo says they've managed it, even though it was difficult, and now he can finally free Nao-san from reincarnation. The man makes a sound of surprise. It is reported that Nanase Nao's script with Akira Ichijo is progressing. The completion of Nanase Nao's script with Akira Ichijo is confirmed. A reward has been issued, as a result of which Nanase Nao received a special skill, Eternal Sacred Fire. Akira Ichijo says he doesn't believe it and asks what's going on, then reveals that the number of points is much higher than his. He says that this is the reward for completing the script, and explains that if you successfully cope with these scripts, a group of people report that it is possible to create people who can resist the monsters that have appeared in the world. The girl says Akira Ichijo's name. Akira Ichijo says his name. He speaks to Nao-san. Nao-san explains that everything is as he said, and no one could have imagined such power. He says that it was only getting in the way, and it's all thanks to Nao-san. Nao-san says that Akira Ichijo should rest some more. Akira Ichijo says he's fine, although his right arm is broken, but thanks to automatic regeneration, it will soon heal. The girl says they better leave before more monsters arrive. He says he won't hurt her anymore. The girl says okay, but asks him not to torture himself. Akira Ichijo says that he thanks her for her help and calls her Nao-san. The girl looks at him silently. The girl says he's really cool. Akira Ichijo says he can't believe the girl actually came and tells her he's very happy to see her. The girl says she's also happy to meet him and has been wanting to come for a long time. A guy makes a noise of surprise as he looks at a booted foot standing on a rail. The girl says that he accidentally grabbed her breast, and Akira Ichijo explains that he didn't mean to do it and apologizes. He says that the girl reports that Akira Ichijo explains that he didn't do it on purpose, and the girl says that she just tripped and apologizes. He says Nao-san can't be serious and asks her to wait. The girl with the gun trembles and explains her concerns. The man speaks, addressing Hao. Clouds and a trail from an airplane are visible in the sky. The image shows the hotel building. Akira Ichijo explains that the first aid kit contains everything necessary for first aid, including bandages, scissors, and antiseptics. He reports that the room is heavily damaged and requires repairs. He says, TSK. Akira Ichijo says the bleeding has stopped for now and calls the man a capricious child. The man asks Nao-san to be gentle and not be too rude. He speaks badly. The girl explains that she is not angry but just a little scared and asks if he has ever been angry before. The girl explains that the right atmosphere is important for something like this, and Akira Ichijo asks what kind of atmosphere it is. He says he wanted to talk about the text that came as an addition after the script was executed. The girl says she's asking about the eternal sacred fire. Akira Ichijo reports that the reward was given out after they completed the script, and says that they were supposed to give out a special skill as well as points. He says he has 100 points and can't believe he got that many. The girl says she actually has a skill. Akira Ichijo asks the girl if she's read about the skill's effects. The girl replies that she'll definitely look it up. He says he doesn't quite understand this feeling. The text explains that Eternal Holy Fire is a passive skill whose duration varies depending on the user's thoughts, and while the skill is active, the user avoids death from any mortal wound. Akira Ichijo explains that it avoids the fate of death from a mortal wound, meaning the user is immune to fatal attacks for the duration. The girl says she doesn't know what to do. The girl says it's better to choose. He laughs and says that it's difficult to get so many points, and they can't be redistributed, so you need to think carefully. The woman says that automatic regeneration is essential, as there's no recovery skill, which is common in games. The man confirms this is true. Akira Ichijo says he has points too. He reports that the reward for completing the werewolf quest and the points earned for leveling up totals 62. He says that he is interested in a new skill, but it costs quite a lot, while pointing out that awakening the first level of life costs 50 points. Akira Ichijo says that you can spend points to acquire new skills or to level up existing ones. The girl says it's difficult. He says he's decided. A message appears stating that the skills acquired are Magic Scheme Level 2, Expertise Level 3, and Analysis Level 3. From the second level magic schematic, it became clear that at level 1, it takes 1 day to restore 1 magic point. Leveling up the magic schematic skill is worth it, as the Sprint and Titanic Force skills utilize magic power. The text says that next comes the skill, Expertise, LV3, which will allow you to find out not only the striking power of a weapon, but also something more specific. Akira Ichijo explains that the fact that the skill can't be leveled up further means that level 3 is the maximum, and the same applies to analysis. He then says that the analysis will be checked immediately. He says that this is the first time he's seen a magical element. He says that the weapon was defective, but now this is enough for him. Akira Ichijo explains that the Analyze LV3 skill is also necessary to know in advance what skills the boss has and when he will use them, so you can deal with them without panicking. He reports that now that he has maxed out his analysis skill, he has a new skill called Analysis Block. He explains that it is a passive skill that prevents the enemy from performing an analysis, and the range of analysis that can be prevented depends on the skill's level. Akira Ichijo reports that he's conducting an analysis. The girl says she apologizes to Nao-san. He reports that the character has reached level 40 and has acquired the automatic regeneration skill, increasing the level of all existing skills. He says that the magical element has reappeared, along with some crystals that seem incomprehensible and are constantly replacing each other. Akira Ichijo says that her magic power is over 100, and even in normal situations her strength was impressive, and also that perhaps Nao-san has become stronger than him. The girl says A. The girl says she's analyzing him again and must have looked at her parameters. He explains that he wasn't the one looking and there's nothing wrong with it. The girl says she never even thought about it and asks him to calm down. Akira Ichijo says that's how it is. The girl says that, thank God. He asks if she's down or something and why. The girl says she won't explain anything if he doesn't think about me. He asks what's wrong. Then he explains that he didn't say anything like that. Akira Ichijo says he thinks the girl is very dear to him. The girl remains silent. He says that's all, and the girl answers with a question. The girl says there is nothing else. Akira Ichijo says that, He says the situation is unfolding in a very interesting way. The girl asks what will happen next. Is it a kiss? Akira Ichijo says he's not giving up. The man smiles. Akira Ichijo and the girl express surprise. The man says he was unsure when to speak up. He and the woman explain that he apologizes for the suddenness and simply couldn't get anyone's attention. Alan reveals his name as Alan and offers Akira Ichijo and the girl one thing. The man asks if they will become his comrades. Akira Ichijo says Alan Smith states that he is 21 years old, his vitality is 42, his muscular strength is 53, his endurance is 54, his speed is 41, and his luck is 15. He explains that he is a person from the real world. His magical element coefficient in his body is 0%, and his body condition is normal. Akira Ichijo explains that his only skill is strengthening his body and wonders what his intentions were in bringing them up in the first place, and then says something else is more important. The man explains that he and Nao-san were in a good moment, but the girl asks what the man's intentions are and calls them comrades. The man laughs and says that if they become his comrades, something good will happen to them. The man says he'll give Akira Ichijo his autograph. Akira Ichijo explains that there are too many stains for him to read. The man says he knows and asks if Akira Ichijo means it won't be enough. He says he'll treat them to alcohol and can make it himself if they come to the base. The girl asks what kind of alcohol. He calls the girl by her name, Now. Akira Ichijo informs them that they are forced to decline and frankly admits that they cannot trust him as the other man is too suspicious. The man says that Akira is right and understands that he will reveal his own truth as well. He says that his friend is looking for a person and asks if they would join him in finding him. The girl says the human's presence raises questions. Akira Ichijo asks why them. The man says he saw them defeat a werewolf. The man says that in comparison to them he is much weaker and one against the other, he will not be able to protect this girl. Akira Ichijo says he was lost and wandering aimlessly and he became his benefactor, helping him. Akira Ichijo then says he now wants to repay him in kind and asks him to join him in searching for the man. He says that he and E.T. can hardly do it. The man says, then let's do it this way. Akira Ichijo says that she has a restoration skill and offers to help find the person in exchange for healing the wounds, to which Akira Ichijo is surprised by the word restoration. The guy asks if they are talking about the automatic regeneration skill, and he explains that apparently these are different skills, and that with this skill you can easily heal a broken arm. Akira Ichijo says that if what this man says is true, they'll be able to save a lot of time waiting for the wounds to heal. The girl asks what they'll do, whether they can trust him, and Akira Ichijo replies that he doesn't know, although he finds it all suspicious. The man says they'll help find the person, and says there are suspicions, but consent is also important. The man expresses surprise and says it's true. The girl says that if it's a trap, then he's confident in his actions. Akira Ichijo says everything is fine, and if anything happens, he'll handle it. He asks Nao-san to shoot. Nao-san remains silent. He says that he will escort them to his base without delay. The right page shows a destroyed building. On the left page, a man stands in a barred corridor and explains that this place is a prison where criminals are held and that there is no exit. Akira Ichijo tells him he can find the information he needs at the bar. The man explains that only certain people go there. Akira Ichijo explains that he needs to be careful and not attract unnecessary attention. The man says that this is their base. He and the girl walk next to him. The man says there is no need to be shy and asks you to relax and make yourself at home. Akira Ichijo says that this is the same one he was talking about recently and that she is a very simple-minded and good girl. The man tells Ayaka to wake up because he has brought reliable helpers. Ayaka responds uncertainly. Ayaka Hanayagi asks who. Ayaka Hanayagi's information is also displayed. Level 29, Vitality 31, Muscle Power 60, Stamina 60, Speed 60, Magic Power 21, Luck 32.0. She is reported to be human. Akira Ichijo says that the level of the Sacred Technique is not displayed, meaning it is a special skill, and adds that she is quite cute and perhaps his type. The man explains that he's wondering if she'll reciprocate if he proposes a relationship, and that Ichizai's face expresses this. He asks if he can hit the man. The girl tells Akira Ichijo to calm down and warns him that he'll kill him. The man says they are valuable assistants. Akira Ichijo asks who they are. The girl explains that she is the one who defeated the werewolf, and her fighting prowess is impressive. The girl adds that it's better to say it wasn't her, but Ichijo, the woman repeats. The girl says that it is an auntie, and at the same time is surprised, repeating this with a question. The girl says it's rude. Akira Ichijo apologizes and explains that sometimes whatever comes to mind just comes out of his mouth and asks him not to take it personally, adding that it's possible to live well into your 30s, but breasts attract so much attention. The man says that now that everyone has met, why don't they have a drink? The girl says she wants it on the rocks. The man asks, whatever you say? The girl asks what their demand is, and notes that they didn't just decide to help out of nowhere. Akira Ichijo explains that Alan told them he had a restoration skill, and they promised to help if he healed their wounds. The man asks to wait a minute. The girl explains that it was possible to find out what is needed if they act together, and he says that this is so, but it is not worth blabbing about his skills to just anyone. Akira Ichijo asks her to show him her hand, and the girl replies, hand. Akira Ichijo explains that he and Nao-san have conflicting personalities and wonders if things will work out. He says she seems rather picky. He says, that is it so. Akira Ichijo tells you not to move. He casts a spell, creating a magic circle between his hands. Akira Ichijo says that if he can't handle this, he will die, and explains that he can't let himself die because he has a dream. He says the wound is gradually healing. The girl explains that healing isn't all powerful and that it takes time depending on the condition, and sometimes it's not possible to heal all the wounds in one go. He explains that the skill has its limitations and clarifies whether there is. The girl explains that there is a limit to the number of times she can use the skill per day, and that it doesn't remove fatigue but only heals physical wounds. Akira Ichijo says that's enough and thanks her. The girl replies that she's doing it for herself and asks him not to thank her. He says that this is a photograph. The girl warns him not to look wherever he wants and apologizes. The girl says she'll have another drink. The man asks if the man the girl is looking for is her father and asks if things are going well. The girl says her father is hopeless, useless, lousy basically. Akira Ichijo asks if he's lost. The girl says he is, says it's nothing. The man explains that before the world became like this, they fought over all sorts of trivial things and warns that dyeing her hair is risky, asking what the girl will do if it turns out badly for her. The girl tells the man to leave her alone. The man says he doesn't care that she's his father, and the girl tells Ayaka she's leaving. Akira Ichijo reports that she was already scared when the commotion about the monsters started, and then tells what happened after that. He says it's good if her father is alive. The girl says they haven't seen each other since then explains that her father was stubborn and got angry at her for dyeing her hair, even though she's already 18, and adds that she doesn't really care. Akira Ichijo says that his feet also smelled and he was completely unable to handle the housework. He then explains that he was annoying with his stupid behavior when he drank and spent long periods in the bathtub. The girl says that her father is really hopeless and stupid. He listens. The man says he's the only one left from his family. The girl says that since he's the only one left from her family, the girl says she's looking for her stupid father. Akira Ichijo says she wants to meet him and apologize properly. The girl has always had difficulties in one way or another. She says she'll do everything in her power to do so. He says that he heard and they will definitely find him. The girl says that it is so sad. The girl says that the other girl must have been sad but still tried and suggests joining forces to find her father. Akira Ichijo confirms that this is indeed the case. The second girl exclaims Akira Ichijo's name. He says that he will always be there, even if she cries. The girl says thank you to her auntie. The girl says she's not his auntie. Akira Ichijo calls her now son. He reports that he's only 27 years old. The man says that since they're going to be looking for Ayaka's father, shouldn't they move on to discussing the scope of this city? Akira Ichijo says that's fine. The guy reports that Akira Ichijo's home is about 20 kilometers from here, and explains that they will most likely stumble upon him while searching the area around the monsters. Akira Ichijo says it would be more accurate to say that he has no information about the bosses and hasn't even encountered them, but he's sure they exist somewhere, though he doesn't know where. He explains that these creatures look powerful. The man asks if Alan drew them. The girl asks what's wrong with her. He explains that there won't be any problems with these monsters, namely the mantis and the chameleon, but the skyfish is a different matter. Akira Ichijo explains that when one is near death, they call out to their comrades and a loud, piercing cry rises up, after which, once the connection is established, they find themselves surrounded. Akira Ichijo says this is very suitable for leveling up and wonders if it's worth the risk. The man says there's some danger, but they need to unite to find Ayaka's father. He says they're comrades who have each other's backs and will fight side by side. The guy in the cap says it's over. The man with the beard is silent. Akira Ichijo breathes heavily and remains silent, and the girl next to him breathes heavily too. The woman explains that this is just Alan. The man says that it can't be helped, even though you wouldn't know it by looking at him, he's not a strong man. Akira Ichijo says he's pleased that these two can endure without dying, and laughs. The girl asks Ichijo what's wrong. Akira Ichijo explains that his analysis level has increased, and he's reanalyzed these creatures. In the text block, he reports that it appears to be a monster from a dungeon called the Forgotten Empty Village. The right side of the page lists the monster's level, 20, and its stats, Vitality 25, Muscle Strength 31, and Endurance 19. Akira Ichijo says that the dungeon is the same as in the games and manga, and then explains that this primarily gives an idea of where these creatures came from. He says he wants to see how long they're going to stand there chatting. The girl explains that unlike Nao-san, who has 0% magical elements, she's interested in magical elements because she has them too. The man says he's also interested in magical elements. The man says that we need to take cover quickly because they are close. Akira Ichijo says he heard strange sounds and they are getting closer. The man asks who, exactly. He says that these are the ones you definitely shouldn't mess with. On the right side are buildings with characteristic creaking sounds. On the left is a wall with the protruding head of a creature making the sound. The image shows information about a creature called the Skyfish, level 6. It has Vitality 7, Muscle Strength 9, Endurance 15, Speed 20, Magic Power 1, and Luck 20. The dungeon is said to appear in a forgotten, empty village. Akira Ichijo says this is the Skyfish. The bird flies sharply towards the fish. Monsters are attacking each other. He says that these monsters don't know the difference and asks if monsters are seriously devouring each other. Akira Ichijo says that the Skyfish itself isn't strong. The man remains silent. Akira Ichijo says that the weeds in such a place are a task. He says they've already started collecting it. The girl says it will really be a hassle if they notice. Akira Ichijo explains that they can calm down, as their eyesight is very poor. The man says that if they wait here, they'll find them. A man says he heard a sound and asks who it is. The man says it's a fish and explains that it can't speak. A man shouts, "Hayaya." Akira Ichijo stands next to two other people. He strikes the monster with a stick. The girl and the woman express surprise. He says that this is not the end. Akira Ichijo says he doesn't think they'll be found if they keep yelling like that and asks where the man came from. The man asks Akira Ichijo to be quiet. The girl tells the man to be quiet too. Then aggressive fish appear. The man apologizes and says it seems. He says the only option is to fight, but doubts everyone will be able to survive against so many opponents. The next panel shows that if the same thing happens again, the situation will be critical. Akira Ichijo says, "Hey," the girl in the car says, "Jump in." A man and a girl are standing by the car, the man holding a large object. The monsters demand that they jump into cover or die. He asks where the girl is from, and she tells him that someone threw gasoline and there's even fuel. A guy asks a girl if she can drive, and she replies that of course she can, she just got her license recently. Akira Ichijo states that they cannot afford to lose, and explains that their only chance now is to use this machine as cover to break through the enemies. He says they still have a heavy axe as a load behind them, and if they throw it away, they should speed up. The girl says there's no point in shooting, their numbers aren't decreasing. The man explains that at this rate, they'll catch up. The boy says he won't throw away the axe. Akira Ichijo says, "What's ahead?" He reports that even the buildings don't feel safe, and asks what's happened to the city. The sound of the wind can be heard against the backdrop of the city. Akira Ichijo says that everything ahead, behind, and to the sides is hopeless. The girl explains that when in doubt, you should move forward. Akira Ichijo says he doesn't believe it. The car jumps over the cliff. The car falls into the abyss. The car crashes into the ground with a roar and raises dust. Akira Ichijo says it's okay to say that. The girl asks what's wrong with those guys. The man asks if everyone's alive. He says it looks like they've lost the trail, but at the same time wonders why they're not hunting. Akira Ichijo says they have no business here and asks if the car can drive. The girl answers, addressing Akira Ichijo, and the boy asks if they're listening. He says that they were in the city. The man asks what this is for. The image does not contain characters or text for retelling. Akira Ichijo explains what's going on and reports that the city is being redeveloped with other buildings. He says it looks like private houses, but they blend in with the high-rise buildings and asks what else it is. The text says it's a forgotten, empty village where magical crystals are absent from the body and outside the body. The body's condition is normal, and the stamina is 19. Akira Ichijo says the global U-turn rate didn't just make monsters stronger. A man asks Akira Ichijo if he understood something. Akira Ichijo explains that the dungeon and the U-turn rate aren't that important. He says it was an indication that another world would come to replace this one. The woman expresses surprise. The girl says it can't be then. The man reports that a dungeon, the so-called forgotten empty village, is destroying this town. Akira Ichijo listens silently. The girl says there's something there. He says, "Look." On the roof of the building on the right, a man says that there are many buildings in this city that look like castles, and explains that this is due to the history and culture of the local people. Akira Ichijo says that it is. He says that things are bad and that they need to run quickly. The man is surprised and asks what happened. Then he says that something has disappeared. The top right corner depicts a flash or explosion of dark energy. Below that, on the right, a new dark armored figure appears on horseback, surrounded by black shadows, crashing into a car. Text announces the appearance of a new boss monster. Akira Ichijo says the creature covered that distance in an instant. A battle with a mysterious boss monster begins on the right side of the stage. The top panel, from right to right, shows an explosion, toward which an armored rider on horseback rushes. The lower panels, from left to right, depict the rider's reaction to the explosion. He makes a sound of surprise, and then his figure is enveloped in smoke and shrapnel. Akira Ichijo breaks down the car door using a pole. The girl tells Akira Ichijo to press the pedal quickly. Akira Ichijo says that he does it. He reports that the car brakes sharply, and then a rider on a horse appears, bursting out of the wall. The car is parked on a broken road. The man says he doesn't know what to do and seriously asks what to do. The guy reports that they are being followed. The girl says they just need to escape the area. The man asks if they haven't started drifting away from Ayaka's home again. Akira Ichijo explains that now is the time to talk about it. The girl says there's no point and they'll definitely die. The girl says she'll do everything she can to defend herself from his attacks and asks Akira Ichijo for help, which he says okay. The man explains he'll calmly pray for their successful escape, which he replies yes. Akira Ichijo reports that this type is stronger than a werewolf and has a higher overall numerical value, warning that one small misstep could lead to death. The Doulahan Night Boss description lists its level, stats, and individual information, including spawn location, class, species, and coefficient. He says we need to attack. He's standing on the roof of a bus with a large sword in his hands, and a rider on a horse is rushing towards him with a spear. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful blow with his long weapon, shattering the barrier. He then turns sharply, parrying the attack with his trident. Below is a wide shot of Akira Ichijo continuing the fight in the open city area. He kicks an enemy who is riding a horse. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful blow with his enormous axe, shattering the surrounding barriers. The creature lets out a sound of pain and surprise. The girl shoots a pistol and says, to get it, at the same time he says the strike arrow. The man says it's powerful, as expected from the guys who just defeated a werewolf, and asks if they're done. The girl says they're not yet, but they've gained some ground. Akira Ichijo says, let's keep it up now, son. Akira Ichijo explains that the power has increased noticeably and asks if that's what magic power above 100 is. Akira Ichijo says that's awesome. The girl says yes. The next panel shows a powerful shot that creates a bright flash and a smokescreen. Akira Ichijo reports that it was an attack capable of destroying everything around him and explains that he was able to repel it. The girl says it's cool that they're taking down the boss monster. He asks if she's okay, to which the girl replies that she is. Akira Ichijo says that now San's powers are already at their limit, and as the power level increases, the number of hits decreases significantly. He reports that even thanks to this, they've gained distance, and one way or another, he copes alone. Akira Ichijo says that now if they can get out of his territory. He falls from a height above the destroyed city next to an overturned car. The image shows destroyed buildings and streets, but there is no speech or text. Akira Ichijo lies face down on the ground. He says he doesn't understand what happened. Then he says they fell and asks how that happened, after which he turns to the guys. Akira Ichijo says it's the end and announces that he is alone now. He says, guys, and then remains silent. Akira Ichijo says he's calling Nao-san, Ayaka, and Alan-san. He stands against the backdrop of a fire. The girl lies on the ground and speaks, addressing Akira Ichijo. Akira Ichijo says to Nao to hold on. He then repeats Nao's name. He says he can't. No, why? Then he makes the sounds dum-dum, dum-dum. Akira Ichijo says, damn it, how did this happen? And calls the other guy a son of a bitch. He then reveals the names of Ayaka and Alan-san. He says he can't let anyone die. He explains that he's not going to give up, even if it costs him his life. Akira Ichijo tells him that if he can't protect the girl, he will die. He explains that he can't let her die. The image does not contain text or speech from the characters. Only black spots and lines are shown on a light background. The image states that a fourth death has been confirmed. A mysterious shadow appears with a suspicious smile, revealing its true identity. The story is reported to continue in the next chapter. Akira Ichijo tells Ichijo that everything is fine and that he seems to be thinking about something. Ichijo asks what happened. He says it is. The woman tells Alan that he's been hiding all the time again, and the man explains that although he might not look it, he's not a strong man. Akira Ichijo reports that he returned from death and asks if he was killed by Doulahan after all. He says that the explosion occurred in the car or it was a special attack by Doulahan, and at that opportune moment, Doulahan killed him. He also reports that the car fell, and when he came to, it was already burning down, and Naoshan was there too. Akira Ichijo reports that the starting point has also changed again, leading one to conclude that after defeating a boss, the return point is reset upon death. The man says that now, it seems. He says it's dangerous here and we need to leave quickly. The man asks why he's suddenly saying that. The man says that a school of heavenly fish will fly from the back of that building, and if they stay here, they will be attacked. The girl says she does indeed hear distinctive sounds, albeit faintly. The man says Ichijo has amazing intuition. Akira Ichijo says, "Guys," the girl offers to ride on the car. He says there's still a fair distance to his house, so a car would save them time. The girl says the key is in, so she hopes the car will go. Akira Ichijo says that the machine can't be used. The girl stands by the machine and looks at it. The girl asks him not to shout like that. He apologizes and says it's just that. The girl remains silent, expressing surprise. The girl explains that if they are suddenly attacked while in the car, it will be difficult to fight back. The man says that they should then continue on foot. The girl with the cap reacts silently. Akira Ichijo apologizes. The girl says it's okay and asks if he returned from his death. Akira Ichijo says that, indeed, yes. The girl says that this is a mysterious accident involving Dullahan and reminds them that they recently fought a werewolf and now a new boss has appeared. Akira Ichijo says he'll try to choose the best route to avoid running into him unexpectedly and asks for this. Akira Ichijo explains that she understands and that they'll be careful. Akira Ichijo says that if a fight breaks out, it's likely someone will die, and he reports that there were many unclear circumstances surrounding the last death and that he only has bad feelings. The girl explains that it would have been better to get in the car because it's all sticky. The woman says that because of the delay with the monsters, they're stuck. Akira Ichijo asks how much time they have left. The girl replies that at this rate there are still 5 or 6 hours. Then Akira Ichijo says you. He suggests taking a break somewhere for a bit. The man supports, and the girl suggests staying there. The guy says that because of the last monster, his whole body is sticky, so he wants to wash it off and asks Nao-san. Nao-san confirms that this is probably true. The guy also asks about the hot spring. Akira Ichijo asks if there's hot water. The girl says there's no time to waste and that they should go check, and if there is, they'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. He says that if monsters attack them, he will scream. The girl says that in that case they will stand guard and everything will be fine. Akira Ichijo says it's hot. The girl says she feels like she's been resurrected. The woman says who would have thought there was still access to hot water. The girl asks if they're washing. The man says everything's clear, but Akira Ichijo is trying to peek. Akira Ichijo asks him not to lie, please, and says, "Huh." The man says that the nights don't get colder in this country and asks Akira Ichijo where he's from. He says that he really didn't say that. Akira Ichijo says America has energetic people, and the man says America is where he's from. He says he was hit by Nao's shock arrow and wondered if she could use any other magic. Nao replies that she could, but that type of magic isn't designed for combat. The girl says it's not something you can imagine. The woman says she wants to see it and asks what kind of magic it is. An inscription appears explaining that this is creative water. The girl explains that it's magic that creates water. Akira Ichijo says it's cool and asks if the water is drinkable. The girl replies that she doesn't know and will have to ask Yuitose to analyze it. He says that he also needs to master magic and asks what other methods there are. The man says that they will look into it. Akira Ichijo says that they really should continue searching for Ayaka's father. He says that he doesn't want to let Nao-san die again and that he must take her with him immediately. The man says they seem to be getting along quite well. The girl says she sometimes overdoes it with her remarks, but she's a pretty girl. Akira Ichijo explains that perhaps that's true, and she certainly got a lot of sass. The man says that Akira Ichijo's paternal instincts should awaken and the desire to protect her as his own child, to which he replies that this is not entirely true. Akira Ichijo says he wants to know why he's helping Ayaka. The man says that this is a very long story, so Alan's biography will be divided into 2 parts and will be published after that, and also asks to tell it briefly and orally. The man says he also had a daughter. The girl explains that during their rebellious phase, they often fought, but he still loved her, so much so that he thought that if he only had her, he wouldn't need anything else. Akira Ichijo speaks with a questioning expression. He says that. The man says he couldn't save her. The man reports that she was killed by a monster right before his eyes, and he hated this world to the core. Akira Ichijo says he was wandering aimlessly alone when this girl saved him. The girl says that she is the reason she's standing in front of the guy. He says that he wants to do everything in his power for her. The man says it is the duty of the man who was the father. Akira Ichijo says that he will also keep company until the very end, and the other man shouts. He says that he asks if the interlocutor is okay and expresses surprise, calling him Mons. Akira Ichijo looks at 2 girls, one of whom says they're very firm. The second girl stands behind the first and holds her breasts. He says he can't believe what's happening. The girl and the other girl explain that the situation is truly strange and unusual. The man says he doesn't believe Akira Ichijo could have done such a thing and demands an explanation. Akira Ichijo denies he was peeping and doesn't know what he's talking about. The man shouts that Akira Ichijo dares to pee. The image contains no text or characters, only a starry sky. Akira Ichijo asks if they're close, and the girl replies that they are. The girl says the word father. He says, let's go. Then he says, they're going. Akira Ichijo says that apparently there was no significant rioting in these areas. He says he doesn't understand where the monsters are hiding. The guy calls Ayaka and tells her to move carefully. The girl says she is tired and calls her father. The woman says that her house will be around that corner. The girl says this is where she used to live and that it's now destroyed. She explains that after the earthquake, everything changed and now she needs to find a new home. The girl says she can't believe it and starts talking, and then her father runs and screams. Akira Ichijo calls out to Ayaka. The girl calls her father and asks him to answer if he is here. Akira Ichijo says, "Father." The girl says it's her father. She sits down among the rubble. The girl reports that there are no survivors in the area. The man says that's impossible, explaining that no one could have survived in such conditions. A girl talks about the thermal power plant. A man lies unconscious or dead among the rubble. In the top image, the man is holding a smiling girl in his arms. Akira Ichijo says he's calling for Ayaka. The man in the cap lowers his head, and Akira Ichijo, the girl, and the man in the suit stand behind him on the ruined street. He says that, to be honest, she guessed that this would happen. Then she explains that her father was unclear whether he was alive or not, and so she prepared herself for the worst and thought she could come to terms with it. After that he says, "But..." The girl says she can't believe he's really dead. The girl says she won, and the man says he lost. The man says he lifts the girl onto his shoulders. Akira Ichijo says he can't live like this anymore and asks not to leave him alone. He says he can't believe this happened and that he should have done something. The man tells the girl that everything will be fine and they will be back home soon. Akira Ichijo remains silent. The girl explains that she can't continue like this, and the man says that things will be different from now on. He reports that a house once stood in this place, but now only ruins remain. He explains that the destruction was caused by a powerful explosion, adding that strange black shadows appeared immediately afterward. A girl screams at Akira Ichijo to run as the surroundings collapse and explode around her. Akira Ichijo says that this creature is a demon that was sealed in this world many years ago and has now awakened. He explains that the demon possesses immense power and is destroying everything around it, and warns that one must be extremely careful. He says that if he can't win, he will die. The girl says that she doesn't want him to die. Akira Ichijo reports that the sprint skill has been applied and has 60 seconds remaining. The scene depicts a powerful explosion that destroys surrounding structures and sends rocks and debris into the air. Akira Ichijo announces that this is the end and explains that he has no intention of stopping. The woman says to Akira Ichijo and Ayaka. The man says, "Ah." Akira Ichijo reports that it was an attack capable of destroying everything around it. He explains that the destruction is so extensive that it's impossible to determine what exactly remains after the explosion. He stands on the destroyed ground and looks at the approaching monster, surrounded by electrical discharges. The girl asks how Akira Ichijo is. Akira Ichijo says that she is you. He says it's a body. Akira Ichijo tells Alan-san and Ayaku to take refuge in a safe place and orders Nao-san to take cover and charge his magic power. The girl agrees, and the man confirms that he has accepted the order. He says that he can't afford to lose, because if he loses, he will die. Akira Ichijo says that until now, bosses have always returned to the same location even after death, but this one appeared here because he assumes he knows their location. He also asks why it appeared here. He says that he is specifically targeting them. Akira Ichijo says he'll think about it later. The screen shows the completion condition for the class quest with the attacker, the defeat of the Dulakan. He says he can't believe how this is possible. Akira Ichijo says that if he can't win, he will die, and states that he doesn't want to die. He says he dared to stand in their way. The girl reports that something is destroying everything around her. Then a man appears and makes a sound of surprise. The girl says they're hooves and reports that there were footprints near her father. The man says that's probably true. The girl says that he is the father. The woman says she's having trouble breathing. The man also says he's having trouble breathing. Akira Ichijo reports that this is the Dumahan he was talking about. She explains that she thinks she can aim here and remain undetected. The woman says that while Ichijo buys time, she will accumulate magical power. Akira Ichijo screams, shielding himself from the blow with his hand as someone lands a powerful blow on him. His gaze is filled with fear, and an axe falls nearby. He kicks the rider on horseback. Akira Ichijo reports that he has stopped pursuing. The girl reports that something unexpected is happening. He expresses surprise. He stands on the rubble and looks at the approaching horse with flames. The girl says she can't believe this happened. The next panel shows the moment of destruction as someone violently bursts through the wall. Akira Ichijo yells at Hao-san. A dark silhouette stands amidst the destruction, debris, and dust flying around. Akira Ichijo says he's okay and says it was his fault. He then explains that he couldn't stop it. He runs along the destroyed surface. He catches the girl in his arms as they fall down. The girl falls among the rubble. Akira Ichijo asks how Hao-san is doing, and Hao-san tells her that she is doing as well as possible. The girl explains that she hid so that he couldn't see her, but when he realized where she was, he reacted with surprise. Akira Ichijo reports that the enemy has a precise understanding of their location. He says, "What the hell this is?" and says that there is a deep mystery to be solved. Akira Ichijo reveals that he is the only one who knows that this world will eventually disappear. Akira Ichijo then expresses surprise. In the top panel, the character on the right fires a powerful electrical charge. In the bottom panel, the same character releases a huge ball of energy surrounded by lightning. Akira Ichijo says that this is the same magic of his skill that sows chaos, and says that Nao-san needs to be dealt with quickly. He says that you can't run away from something like this, and informs that it's useless. Akira Ichijo reports that there was a sacred shield. Akira Ichijo shouts to Ayaka, and Ayaka responds. Akira Ichijo explains that there were hoofprints, that his father was trampled, and that it was his doing. He tells Ayaka. Ayaka says that she will fight too. The man explains that then he will also help in any way he can. The man says well. Akira Ichijo says that together they will defeat him. He says it's not just any demon, but a demon knight who has appeared in their world. He explains that this demon has immense power and destroys everything in its path. The man says they need to come up with a plan to stop it immediately, otherwise everyone will die. He explains. The upper right corner depicts a blow followed by destruction. Akira Ichijo indicates that the sprint skill has been used and has 60 seconds remaining. The bottom depicts Akira Ichijo running quickly across the destroyed area. He leaps and strikes with his staff, creating a powerful energy discharge. He then looks at the glowing ball of energy that forms in his opponent's hand. The girl talks about the double strike arrow. Akira Ichijo announces that a titanic strength skill has been used, with 60 seconds remaining. He leaps forward with a hammer in hand. He delivers a powerful blow to the horse, tearing it to pieces. He says that if he abandoned the horse, then... The top right corner shows the destruction and the dark monster. The center right indicates that only the dark monster remains. Below, Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful blow with a large axe to the monster, causing destruction all around. In the bottom left, Akira Ichijo continues the attack with a powerful kick. In the upper right, he violently smashes into the ground, causing a powerful explosion and a volley of rocks. In the lower right, a girl watches in surprise and alarm, clutching her hand to her chest. A girl says that now. Akira Ichijo says that he knows. He announces the name of the technique, the striking arrow. The man makes a sound expressing effort or pain. At the top right edge is a depiction of a ruined city with flying debris and dust. Below in the center is a man in dark, tattered clothing and a menacing mask kneeling amid the destruction. The girl says, "Ah," holding a gun in her hand. Akira Ichijo says it's a creature. In the next panel, Akira Ichijo is sitting on the ground in front of a large, horn-bearing creature. The girl says she managed to overcome him and finish him off. He says they really won and breathes heavily. Akira Ichijo says, "Bravo, just think about it, following a werewolf." The man reports that they've defeated the boss monster again and calls it amazing, comrades. The girl tells Alan that he's been hiding again. Alan explains that his decrepit body is unfit for battle and he's extremely sorry he can't fight, but he won't say anything about the girl. The woman tells Akira Ichijo that he's not hurt anywhere. Akira Ichijo says there are still many questions, but the only important thing now is that the matter is settled. A man asks a girl if she's okay, and the girl explains that everything is fine and asks her not to worry. The man apologizes. The man says it's only natural after such a desperate fight and that Akira truly amazes him. Akira thanks him for sacrificing himself for Ayaka and confirms it's true. The man says they did a good job and stabs the girl in the neck. The girl says it's impossible. Akira Ichijo tells her she died. Akira Ichijo explains that she died because he couldn't protect her. He says that. The man with the knife says what Alan did. Akira Ichijo says that we just need to deal with her, that's all, and asks what he did and what he saw. Akira Ichijo adds that, after all, the man says the moment when you kill a person brings the most pleasure. Akira Ichijo reports that now is dying. The girl runs and calls out to Hao-san. The text says that only he knows that this world will one day disappear. The woman says it's not just a wound, but something very serious. The man explains that her neck is injured and she won't be able to move. Akira Ichijo says it's useless. He asks not to die and utters the word restoration. A woman reports that he ripped her neck open. A man says that even he can't bring a dead person back to life. Akira Ichijo says he doesn't understand why he's doing this or why he needs it. The man shouts Akira Ichijo's name. He says that he constantly thinks about how to kill the interlocutor and her who killed the werewolf. He asks what it means that me, Inapsan. The man explains that it was precisely because he couldn't compete with them at that moment that he found the need for strong allies. The girl asks about allies. The man says he can't afford to die here and that he must live to see his son grow up. Akira Ichijo says it's true. He expresses great surprise, and the girl says that she can't believe it. The man reports that it is a demon that has absorbed many souls and has become stronger than ever. Akira Ichijo says something strange is happening. The girl says they defeated him. He reports that Dullahan has been reborn, adding that what's more important is that he controls them. The man asks if he controls them. Akira Ichijo says it's his skill, but he's seen Alan's status before, and the only skill there should have been was body strengthening, so why not? He then explains that if it's that skill, then something like this is possible. The text above states that the passive skill blocks the analysis effect, which is carried out. The man reports that he used the analysis blocking skill and pretended to be someone he was not. Akira Ichijo says that Domahan appeared here and pinpointed their location, and asks if all of this was the work of the interlocutor. The man says it was all just to wear them out and says he is pleased with how skillful his simulation was. Akira Ichijo says that although they settled on Ayaka's idea of using a machine, it would have gone a little faster. He tells what that accident means. Akira Ichijo says that if the car doesn't stop, it will crash into the wall. Then Akira Ichijo says that they need to slam on the brakes immediately. The man attacks the girl, stabbing her in the throat with a knife. The girl clutches her chest, trying to cope with the pain. The man says it's him. Akira Ichijo says he wants to understand why they need them and asks who he even is. The man says there's no need for an answer, because Alan will die too. The girl asks Alan to tell her one thing. The girl says that it turns out that he and her father are connected, and also asks if he killed her father with his help. The man says he can't afford to die because he has a daughter. The girl says she has no intention of killing him. The man says he could hardly have known that he would turn out to be Akira Ichijo's father, and says that he is truly sorry, considering everything he is grateful to Akira Ichijo for, at least. The man says he should have been allowed to be trampled to the point of being unrecognizable. The girl says she doesn't want anyone to suffer because of her, and asks him not to do it. She explains that she can't allow anyone to suffer for her. The guy sits with his head down. Akira Ichijo tells Alan that he's been deceiving them from the very beginning. Alan explains that he's been hiding the truth up until now because he's much weaker than them and can't protect the girl alone. The man and woman are surprised, asking where everyone else went. The man says he couldn't save her, and that conversation too. He explains that she was killed by a monster right before his eyes, and that he hated this world to the core. He listens. Akira Ichijo says it was all a lie. The man says that this expression is his favorite, to look into the face of the person he deceived, and that he should have done the same with Naosan to reveal this secret and then kill. The man says her death was very uninteresting. Akira Ichijo says he's a scumbag. The man suggests they stop fighting and move on to settling the matter. He stands with a large axe, sparks and lightning around him. The man says that hidden rage will pierce and shift the dawn. A woman says a fire is being rekindled in a life that is fated. A man says he can't die. Akira Ichijo reports that the fire is spreading quickly. The girl says, "Ah," and turns to Hao-san. Akira Ichijo screams that he has a sore throat, and the girl calls out, "Nao-san." The girl says that Ichijo and Nao-san are breathing and that she is still alive. He tells this to the man, who reacts with surprise. Akira Ichijo says ha and explains that with the help of the eternal holy fire, she avoided damage from a fatal blow, after which she explains that the eternal holy fire is a passive skill, the duration of which varies depending on the thoughts of the owner, and during activation with. The man says he definitely should have killed her, but she proved to be quite resilient, and suggests changing strategy and splitting the task between the two. He reacts to the sudden appearance of a black liquid that begins to surround him. Akira Ichijo says the body is sinking and he can't get out. The girl warns Ichijo not to come near and calls out to him. He asks Ayaka, begging, and he calls Naosan. The girl says she can't believe this happened. The girl screams Ichijo's name. A dark, armored figure is surrounded by black flames that spread across the ground. Akira Ichijo says he can't afford to be weak because weakness means death. He explains that if he doesn't become stronger, he won't be able to protect those he cares about. He says he doesn't understand what this place is and asks what happened to him, wondering if he's still alive. He then says he's not seeing things. The man reports that the interference has now been eliminated. The man walks through the rubble toward the girl. The man says he doesn't intend to kill the girl because he needs her alive. The girl says she doesn't intend to give up. The girl says he's the one who killed her father and asks why. The man remains silent. Akira Ichijo says the shaking doesn't stop. The man smiles. The man reassures her that he is not going to kill her, explains that the skill can be useful, and if the girl cooperates, he will let her live. Akira Ichijo explains that he will therefore get out of the way. He says that there is nothing that can be done with this girl. The girl explains that there is no... The man delivers a powerful punch. The man explains that he will not stop until he destroys the enemy. Akira Ichijo delivers a powerful blow, destroying the wall. He breathes heavily and says, "Ha ha," then he is silent. The man says that even now he is not inferior to his interlocutor, and is obviously not inferior to him. The hand squeezes the earth, and at the same time there is a confession that it is painful, hard, and scary. The man's eyes are wide open, and he says he can't believe what's happening. Akira Ichijo says that if he can't save the girl, he can't save himself, and that he can't afford to die here. The man reports that he hasn't saved anyone again. The man tells Ayaka that she's been standing still for so long, and it's not like her. Akira Ichijo calls Ayaka by name. The girl calls the man father. He says he might fall and hurt himself. He explains that it was the first time he was scared. The girl says that if he keeps just watching, nothing will change. Akira Ichijo says, now is the time to make an effort. The woman says, don't forget Ayaka, and be brave. The girl tells him to move forward, and Akira Ichijo runs forward. A woman runs toward a man standing next to a man lying on the ground. The man says it's nothing at all. The woman strikes the man. Akira Ichijo punches a man who screams in pain. The man says he's not afraid of death, and that his life has long since ceased to be his own. He says he now lives for others, and is ready to accept any fate. The hand takes the hilt of the sword. The image shows the moment the sword hits the ground, causing rocks and dust to fly. A woman cries. A man says he thought she'd be a little smarter. A woman punches a man hard in the face, after which the man says, oh. The man reports that there was another knife hidden, then Akira Ichijo reacts with surprise. He says that if he can't protect himself, he can't protect others, so he must learn to fight. The man says the girl was aiming for him from the start, and explained that she lulled him into a false sense of security with an obvious attack for the sake of one guaranteed hit. Akira Ichijo says he's not asking for anything. Akira Ichijo calls for attacking and killing the one who wants to avenge his father. He reveals that only he knows that this world will eventually disappear and explains that there is light beyond the darkness. Akira Ichijo remains silent, watching the black shadows swirling around him. He says he can't fight them because he doesn't want to kill them. He explains that he can't afford to kill any of them, even if it costs him his life. Akira Ichijo says how many of them are here, and at the same time explains that they are his offspring and the skill of dark magic. He says he is physically exhausted and wonders if he can win in this condition. The girl says that if they don't stop them now, everyone will die. Akira Ichijo says he's not going to give up. The man fires a pistol. He says that now San and Ayaka are fighting desperately and wonders what kind of cowardice this is, and also states that he can't give up first. Akira Ichijo says he will do it. The image contains no text or speech and shows the same character in 3 repeated frames, holding a sword with both hands in front of him. Akira Ichijo attacks 4 opponents with a powerful strike from his weapon. He attacks with a large object. He uses a sprint skill, the remaining duration of which is 60 seconds. Akira Ichijo makes a sound that suggests effort or pain. Akira Ichijo reacts with surprise. Akira Ichijo attempts to fend off the dark creature using his shield. The image contains no text or speech, only a fragment of clothing. Akira Ichijo reports that he appears to have been cut, but there is no bleeding or even a scratch. He stands clutching his stomach next to a large sword with several figures visible in the background. He says he only clearly feels a sharp pain and asks what the hell is going on. He then abruptly fends off his attacker with a large object. Below him, to the right, he notices several enemies approaching with swords. Akira Ichijo states that he can't afford to lose, and explains that if he falls, it will all be over. He explains that here in this world, no matter how much he is attacked, there will be no damage to the body. Akira Ichijo says that there is no death here, only pain, so there can be no death. The right panel depicts the destruction of buildings and a road, accompanied by sounds. In the left panel, a girl breathes heavily and says she's tired, sighing. Akira Ichijo and the girl simultaneously unleash powerful blows, causing destruction and sending debris flying into the air. He says he's not going to give up, even if it costs him his life. The man explains that he understands his determination and is ready to accept the challenge. Akira Ichijo stabs a man, who counters the attack with his fist. He says that Ayaka is good and that he underestimated her. The girl says, "Thank you." The man makes a tiche sound. Akira Ichijo says that if he can't win, he will die. The man says he doesn't intend to kill Akira but wants him to understand what true pain is. He bursts into the wall, destroying it. Akira Ichijo throws a punch. A woman screams. A man watches with wide eyes. He announces the name of the technique, Sacred Shield, and creates a protective barrier that reflects the attack. The man says, "Wow." The girl says she can't believe that happened. The girl says that if he doesn't stop, she'll kill him and warns him she's not joking. The man says she can't kill him and explains that he's immortal. The girl stabs and kicks the man. A man reports that he has died. The woman says it's the end and warns him that if he doesn't stop, he'll die. The man replies that he has no intention of stopping. The man laughs, "He he he he." The girl stands on the man with a knife in her hand and says that he can't kill her. Akira Ichijo says that the girl must think he can't kill a person and says that he'll kill her right now. The girl asks what's so funny. He reports that after they had defeated the werewolf quite a bit, he had gained time. The girl says that in case of unforeseen circumstances, she wanted to drag it out as long as possible, until now. The man says that this is also the end. The girl says she doesn't understand what he's talking about. The global reversal rate has reportedly exceeded 3%, causing monsters to regain some of their original strength. The man smiles. Akira Ichijo says the reversal rate has increased. The girl jumps sharply and stabs with a knife. The woman says, "Kach," and Akira Ichijo explains that the promotion the other person received has nothing to do with him. He tells the name of the technique, Sacred Shield. Akira Ichijo says this isn't the end. He says that this was the last attack and now it's all over. He explains that the destruction around him is the result of his power and announces that he will no longer hold back. Akira Ichijo says that he was able to break through the Sacred Shield and notes its power, which is completely different from what it was just recently. He explains that after increasing the reversal factor, a strange phenomenon occurs, and he feels his strength returning, albeit slightly. The man asks if he has become stronger. The man then speaks up and suggests starting the second round. The man says 2 is enough and makes a sound. The man makes strange sounds. The woman says she doesn't remember him having such a skill and asks what it is. The man reacts with an exclamation. The woman reports that his blow has become heavier than before and asks why. The man explains that visibility is not stabilizing. The man, his eyes shining, looks up. The woman and the man collide in midair. Akira Ichijo says he'll break the person he's talking to first. He says that he risked his life fighting like that, and at least someone came running. The man asks if she saved his beloved father. Akira Ichijo says that he can't hold back any longer, and that he's going to do it now. A guy talks about Tetsu, a girl talks about Tetsu, a man and a girl laugh, a man holds a girl on his shoulders. The girl says she can't allow Ichijo to be killed. The right panel shows an explosion. Akira Ichijo says that his attack cannot be defended with the Holy Shield, but if you use that skill, the woman says to move and not be afraid. The woman says she doesn't want to see herself lose anyone anymore and asks her father. The girl asks to give her courage. Akira Ichijo says he endured all the pain with fortitude. He also says they're about to see the other man's limits. The man, surprised, says the recognition block has been removed and asks who could have done it. The woman says she's using silence. Akira Ichijo stands in front of a destroyed building with debris and dust flying around it. The girl says he knocked Alan down. Akira Ichijo breathes heavily and laughs, saying "ha" and "ha-ha." Then he looks forward with a tense expression. He says that at least Ayaka and Naosan are alive. Akira Ichijo says it was close. The girl says she's really close. A man reports that he was almost killed. Akira Ichijo says he has another skill. Akira Ichijo asks why the other guy can still move. The man says he's weakened Akira Ichijo's status. He curses and tells him to move and get up. Akira Ichijo says that if nothing is done, there's something he can do. The girl screams Ichijo's name. He tells Ayaka what's going on and calls Nao-san. Nao-san tells Ayaka. Akira Ichijo says Alan lied to them and Ichijo will kill him if nothing is done. She says there's nothing she can do. He says that only Nao-san can save Ichijo and asks for help. A man says he can't die. Akira Ichijo says he can't afford to die here and now and states that he must survive for the sake of those waiting for him. He says to Alan, noticing a figure in the distance. The girl says that if they don't do it now, they will die, and the other girl says that she is not going to give up. Akira Ichijo says, shock arrow. The man reports that the attack was so obvious and says that the interlocutor knew he would miss. The guy says that's all there is to it, that's all. The girl calls the guy Alan. Akira Ichijo says he wasn't their target. He says that he cannot die because he has a purpose. The man expresses strong surprise. Akira Ichijo says it's a victory and makes a cough sound. The building collapses and crumbles with a loud sound. Akira Ichijo says this is the end and says they won't be able to get out of here. The girl explains that they must run or die. The boy says they need to find a way out and not give up. There are no speech bubbles or text in the image, only destroyed buildings and rubble. No one speaks or communicates anything. Conquest of the boss monster is confirmed. The speed of progression of the global turn is decreasing. Akira Ichijo says the monster's subjugation has occurred, meaning Alan was also involved along with Dullahan. A girl tells another girl something. Now he reports that it really is all over. The image shows a sky with clouds and a tree crown in the lower right. There is no text or character speech. Akira Ichijo explains that if there are no problems, they can start tomorrow. The girl says that in that case, she'll go too. The man says he won't interfere this time. The woman says she doesn't want anyone to get hurt.